All right. I want to see if anybody can hear me. I'm getting started about 5 minutes early to give people a chance to join via Streamlabs if they like, or actually StreamYard. All right, awesome. You can hear me loud and clear. So right now it's 10:10. We're going to get started at 10:15. That should give a few more people a chance to come in. The call-in number is on the screen, 605-315-5384. And I'm hoping Lockhead Boss Lady joins us as well, so I'm going to get in touch with her too. Okay, there she is. Just talked her up. Welcome, Lockhead Boss Lady. Good to have you here. And if you want to join via StreamYard to be a part of the panel, I sent you an email. So if you click on that link, and the link is also somewhere in the chat. Demetrius said you got some juice. Matter of fact, I'm sipping on some cranberry juice right now. I hope that's what the baby's like. Just to get some quick shout outs. We have The Truth in the house. He's one of my top supporters and moderators. Very well spoken guy, and always has real good insight when it comes to these kinds of issues. So, welcome to the chat, The Truth. And if you haven't, please subscribe to his channel. We also have Lex Mack in the house with Geechee TV, who I had the honor to meet today and take part in a live discussion with Lockhead Boss Lady. So welcome to the chat. Welcome to the channel, Lex. We also have Jennifer Lindsay. Thank you. Always a loyal watcher. Demetria, good to have you here as well. Let's see who else we have. Dope Action, welcome back. Private Iris, love your channel as well. Glad to have you here, and I'm looking forward to hearing your input. This is going to be one of those where I know everybody won't agree, but I know everybody can be pretty civil and know how to handle themselves, no matter how, I guess, controversial the conversation can be. So it should be a lot of fun. All right, again, if anybody wants to participate in the panel via StreamYard, you can go to StreamYard.com and type in that code that you see on the screen, and you should be able to join the chat. All right, The Truth said the laptop app is stable. So if you have a laptop or a desktop computer, then all you have to do is just go to the Streamlabs website, download the program, and it should work for you. If not, the call-in number will be open as well. All right, Truven, did you say that Riverbend was in the house tonight as well? Okay, I understand, Truth. All right, tonight's topic is child support and baby mama drama. Let's talk about it. This is actually a request that I got from one of my loyal followers, Riverbend Out. She came to me with the topic last week about child support and baby mama drama, what can be done to avoid it, and can't we do better as far as people and parents in trying to resolve these issues without it always being the man that has to come out financially unstable or at the risk of going to jail or at the risk of losing their driver's license. Now, I can't speak for all states, but I know here in the state of Georgia, if a father gets behind in child support, number one, they take your driver's license. Number two, they try to put you in jail. Well, the first thing they do is garnish your pay, regardless of whether you're disabled, whether you are working at Burger King for $9 an hour. The lowest case that I've heard them ever having here in Georgia was like $350, $400 a month. And for a man that's only making anywhere between $1,200 and $1,500 a month, chances are the rent isn't going to get paid. So I guess my first question would be, if a father, well, we'll go ahead and start a discussion, and I'll open up the phone lines here in just a moment. If a father is not given the means or is trying to get on his feet, and the state takes away his driver's license, that takes away his transportation to get to work, to be able to pay his obligations. So number one, it feels like that's putting the father behind the eight ball. Number two, if you lock that man up, there's no way that he's going to be able to work and make enough money to fulfill his obligations. So again, the father's in a catch-22. He may not have enough money to eat, survive, have gas in the car, food in his belly, and be able to keep a roof over his head once the state gets involved. So I just want to hear people's opinion on this so far. Jennifer Lindsay said it's like that in Mississippi. Private Iris says she has firsthand knowledge there in Florida. The truth says it's 22% of your pay. Let me see. I'm in the background, but I hit the link. It's not working on my phone. Sorry, Streamlabs isn't working for you. Yeah, but I was. Oh, wait a minute. I see you down here in the. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing. Are you there, Lockhead? I believe I added you to the stream, if I'm not mistaken. All right, if you can turn your mic on, I want to see if I can hear you. Hey, are you there? Can you guys hear Lockhead? Yeah, let me know in the chat whether you can hear her or not. Okay, you can't hear. She is talking. What did you do earlier to get me to be heard when I was on earlier? I know there was a way that you got me in. Let's see, when you talk, your icon lights up. Yeah, we'll try unplugging and plugging it back in again to see if that works. Welcome, Lady Blue, to the chat. Glad to have you here. I tell you what, we'll do it this way. I'll go ahead and set up the call-in line. Hey, welcome, one proud grandma of six. Didn't know that you were in the stream. Glad to have you here tonight. I'm opening up the phone lines now. And Truth, if you can post that number for us again. Okay, Locke is telling me to unplug my mic. That might help. Let me try that real quick here. All right, I'm back. Can you hear me now? I unplugged and replugged my mic like Lockheed said. Hopefully that might fix her problem on her end too. Leave it unplugged. Okay, let me try that. Leave it unplugged and use the computer mic. I might have to use the one on my headset. Let me try. All right, what about now? Can you hear me? I'm using the microphone on my headset now. Okay, you can hear me now, but a lot of feedback. All right, then what I'm going to do is just go back to the other mic and you guys have to call in. All right, and I think that should fix my sound issue. And if you want to try again, Lockhead, you can. All right, I'm opening up the call-in line right now as well.
Your call cannot be completed as dialed. Completed as dialed.
Now the call-in number's giving me trouble. Let's see what's going on with that real quick. Okay, it's 605-313-5384.
Access code followed by the pound or hash sign. Access code or phone number you have dialed is incorrect. Please check your credentials. are the host, press star now. Otherwise, please enter your PIN followed by the. Thank you. There is one cookie in
All
your
right, the
phone.
call in line is open. The number 605-313-5384. This is my first time really using this software myself. I know that Lockheed's really good at using it. This is my first time, so I appreciate everybody's patience and dealing with this tonight. But we have a good topic, and that's um, child support and baby mama drama. Could it be avoided without child support completely? And also, why does child support always come out bad on the guy's end? You know, the man has to fight for custody or to be able to see his children, and usually almost has to go into financial ruin for 18 years just to be able to support his child, when if they were able to work it out like adults, it wouldn't be as traumatic on the child or the custodial parent, in my opinion. Hey, welcome, River Bend. You guys can call in unless you want to join the panel via StreamYard. Again, at StreamYard.com. And the code is in the description. I mean, is in the chat. And shout out to River Bend. This is actually her topic that she requested. So I do want to hear everybody's opinion. All right, Private Iris says most deadbeats have plenty of time. Do you know how long it takes for the state to implement those sanctions? Well, in the state of Georgia, Iris, they don't waste time. As soon as the order goes through, they have cars passing by your house for wherever she said that you lived last. And before long, you'll have the sheriff serving you papers either there or your job within a week or two of the case being filed, as opposed to a lot of other states where here it could take weeks or months. All right, Iris says that she has a girlfriend who had to pay child support. She cried. Equal opportunity. That's right. It is equal opportunity. All right. Sounds like we have somebody on the line. Who do we have tonight?
Is it me?
I'm sorry. Who is this? Let me turn up your volume so everybody can hear you, not just me.
It's Lisa Lakers.
Hey, Lisa Lakers. Welcome back to the channel. So glad to have you here.
What's
On.
up? What's up?
Thank you for your
Glad to
feedback.
be
So,
back.
yeah. So let's talk about
Okay,
this child support and baby mama drama thing. What's your opinion on it?
okay, well, first of all, I've been married for 35 years to the same guy. Grew up childhood sweethearts, okay? But, what I can say is that I have a brother, okay? And he has 2 kids. But his relationship between him and his, it, I don't do baby mama. I do, his child's mother.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, his children's mother. Um, she values the time. Okay, she has a nice job herself. Okay, so what she cares about is them co-parenting together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he get time, spend time with his kids, and he don't pay child support. He take care of his children, but it's not in where it's forced to be, you know, aid by the court. And she never took him to child support because she knew he would take care of his children and that, the whole family helped, take care of him. You know what I'm saying? So, and I just like don't believe like all guys should be forced to pay child support. I believe it's sometimes it's out of malice that child support is sometimes put in place. Not all the time. Sometimes it is some deadbeat daddies that need to be put on child support. And then sometimes it's some deadbeat mamas that need to be put on child support also. And get a kid to the father. Like we just had an incident, I'm in Cleveland, Ohio, to where the mother wanted to keep the child so bad that the child ended up dead by the hands of her boyfriend and her. Where the daddy was like, he called Children Family Services and everything. And he
Wow.
was like, just give me my child. And I would raise, it was a 4-year-old girl. He was like, I would raise her myself, But because the mom wanted to check so bad and I could get up off her butt her, you know, male friends after work, she wouldn't give up the 4-year-old child to the father. Okay, so the baby ended up dead, and now it's like a big old lawsuit thing going on and stuff. But it's sad because now his 4-year-old daughter is gone, but it was all over a child support check. You know, so it depends. You know, and you're right. It does turn out a lot of times heavier on the guy. But and like I said, sometimes you need to see who you laying down with before you lay down with that
Absolutely.
person and know what kind of person it is. Because if the person is jealous hearted and malice and say, oh well, if you don't stay with me, I'm gonna put you on child support, or if you need me, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that, which is so petty. You know what I'm saying? Because like coming up as a child myself, even though I was in a two-parent home, I when my daddy passed, it was no amount of money I wanted from his will. I wanted my daddy back. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Money didn't matter. You know, and I feel like time with a child, no dollar value can replace that.
Okay.
You
Well, I
know.
appreciate your feedback on that, and I want you to stay on the line. I think we have the truth, and we also have Riverbend on the line, and surprisingly, both of my good friends and fellow YouTubers, I believe, have opposite thoughts on the matter, if I'm not mistaken. So, Truth, I'll give you the floor, and then hopefully we can get Riverbend to follow up.
Well, my dilemma is the old saying, "Mama's baby, Papa's
Daddy's
baby."
maybe.
Yep. And a woman could accuse a man, and if the man is dumb enough to not show up, they'll place a default. Yeah, they'll place a default judgment on him. Now, the biggest dilemma with that is we're going back 20, 30, maybe 40 years. The child paternity tests were not cheap, so the state did everything they could to avoid having to pay for the child the paternity test.
But you know something? I'm 52 years old, and when I was born, if you was married, that's who the child belonged to. It
Yes,
was no
by
paternity
law.
test. Yeah, it was no
By
paternity
law.
test. Right, by law. They didn't do paternity tests when I was born. The dad just signed the birth certificate. And if you was married, you actually, as the father, had to go fight that mama to get a paternity test.
And the paternity test had uh,
No value.
nothing on the case. If the court decided that you are the father because you are married to the mother, you are
You the
demanded
father.
to pay child support, regardless if that child is yours or not. Okay? The other factor in that is if you were involved in the child's life for, say, 15 years or even 6 or 7 years, the court could decide that by removing you from the child, it would be not in the best interest of the child.
Yeah.
Okay, when you go to court, okay, there's the prosecutor, who's the state, so they're not really, they're just the state. The man has a lawyer, the woman has a lawyer, and the child has a lawyer. The child's lawyer could overrule all of the lawyers in that courtroom.
It's called a guardian ad litem or something.
Yes, well, the attorney for the child, and if he comes to the judge and says, in this child's best interest, he should go with the father, then the judge will side with that. And there's a whole bunch of factors. My problem is there's no charges. There's nothing to say, hey, why did you say this man was the father? If you knew there was a possibility, but there's a possibility he may not be the father.
Okay, in your situation, are you the father or are you not the father?
Well, I'm not speaking about me. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying in the court,
Right.
the woman says that man is the father of my child. They ask her a simple question: is there any possibility that there may be someone else that could be the father of this child? 9 out of 10 times they answered, nope, 100% that is the father of my child. But there's there's no repercussions for her.
Yes, hold on. Yes, it is, because I had a friend, one of my friends, he took care of a child for, since it was a baby, and kind of found out the child had an accident. Well, he was like 17 years old playing football. He had an accident, okay? He needed a blood transfusion. So they did the mama blood and the father blood, okay? And guess what he found out that day? After 17 years, it wasn't his father. Yep, it wasn't his child. He was so devastated. But guess what that mother was forced to do? Pay him back all the money.
Well, I'm sorry. Hi, this is Riverbend. I'm here with Truth. He's here with me. And that's true in some cases, but I've seen a lot of cases where that's not so, that they still, and just by being there, they still make the father, even though he's not the father, pay child support and still go through everything. Now that's in different states.
What state y'all in?
They can do that in Connecticut. They can do that in Tennessee. They can do it in Texas, and
I know Ohio pretty much. They'll do a test and everything else first, and then they can overturn a lot.
And I feel bad. And I used to be all, until I really dug into this really deeply. I used to be, men are sorry, men are doing this. But as I gained more experience in this, I'm not on the side of the man or the woman. I'm on the side of what's right. And I just don't think it's fair that, as a woman, I am a woman. You know who you laid down with. So why would you get on the stand and say, because we ask you 3 times, are you sure? And what really makes me mad is that they do not get a perjury charge unless the man files a civil suit. And minimal retainer for a lawyer for a civil suit is anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000 to sue that mother. What person has that? Like the average everyday
person. Just laying around, yeah.
Right, and that's not fair. And that's why my point of view kind of shifted at that point as I started dealing with more and more things like this. And I know there's deadbeat dads who do run, but I also know I call them deadbeat women who do the same thing, and that's not fair.
Well, speaking of deadbeat women, I kind of want to share my experience on that because, and I'm going to get a little bit personal here. And if that person or anybody related to her happens to be listening, tough shit, because truth is truth. A woman in my life decided to leave 8 months pregnant, right? Moved 600-700 miles away. 18 years later, she hasn't had a job since she left here. So that's 19, almost 20 years that she never worked. Has had 4 kids since then. And for whatever child she doesn't get child support for, all of a sudden they're autistic and they get a check from the state. So, in your humble opinions, does that sound like shenanigans, or does that sound like somebody who legitly just wanted to have a life of their own and raise 5 kids on their own without any real support except from the state, child support, and Social Security? Again, when you haven't hit a lick at a snake for 20 years, you sit around and smoke weed and read romance novels and hang out with your friends and walk back and forth to the store to buy Newports.
That's what made me change. When I see the kids behind the mama, it's like a bomb, okay? Yeah. Her hair done. I'm gonna sing the song, hair done, nails done, everything big. Remember that one came out. You see the mother flashes, I don't know what, everything done. But the kids don't got on decent shoes, don't have on decent clothes, hair not done. The jet is for, the child support is for the well-being of the child, for clothing, roof over their head,
Rent.
and food.
Rent.
Yeah.
So you can have a place to live.
Right.
Oh, and weed.
Not
Don't
for you
forget
to
that money has to go to her weed habit too, because her weed is her
Right.
medicine.
It's not to take care of you. You get up off your butt and go get you a job. That money for that baby.
Right, and the basic essentials, a place to lay. If you were to take that whole child support check and pay it to your rent, there should be nothing. There's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion, because there's a place for that child to lay their head down at night. If you were to take that check and pay it on the gas bill or the electricity, okay, now your child has lights. That's different. I'm okay with that, but I just feel like that's why I'm so big on voting and knowing your candidates and views and things like that, because laws change and I don't like that. There should be whatever is the basic minimum for a married couple to take care of their child before the CPS takes them away should be exactly what that child support should be used for.
Right, but it's kind of like you can blame a lot of things on the system because listen. And nothing. I'm not talking about people with subsidized housing. Nothing wrong with subsidized housing. Nothing wrong with Section 8 or whatever. But they have made women so lazy because you can get this where I ain't gotta pay for $10 for rent, $5 for the light bill, $2 for the gas bill.
Or daycare.
Right. No day. Yeah, I ain't gotta pay daycare. I get a voucher and all that stuff. Whereas here you got working parents that don't get those benefits. Okay, so when that mother gets that mother can sit on her behind, but whatever that man makes, okay, she gets 15% of it. Okay, because she gets food stamps, the subsidized housing, and all that stuff like that, right? But if you able-bodied to work, but you just sit on your behind because you're getting a child support check, that is not fair to me. Because if you can work, then both of y'all should be supporting that child, not just the man.
Right, and in my position, you're talking about a woman that hasn't worked in 18, 19, 20 years, who's been gaming the system because she thinks she's smarter than everybody else. So, right, and then this 44-year-old woman has a 2-year-old because she still couldn't keep her legs closed. So now she done brought another 3-year-old, got one kid and graduated high school, and then got another 3-year-old coming behind him who happens to be autistic along with the other 2 boys.
That's even more money. And you know why? Because they're not just getting child support. They're getting WIC. They're getting other, what is it called, TANF?
Yeah.
And they're getting
all
of that.
Yeah.
They get the Medicaid, everything else that a stable person would get. They all get that.
And let me tell you about the state of Georgia as well. Again, I'm putting my own self out here, and like I said, I don't really care. The truth is the truth.
My mom from Georgia, Columbus, so.
Yeah. Well, check this. Florida has already dropped the case because my boy is 18. He turned 18 in February, right? They're still coming after me, even though I have letters. Florida is actually sending me money back, telling me the case is closed, Mr. Jones, you're good to go. Your obligation has been met. You know that the state of Georgia still won't close my case, even though my boy is 18 years old. And when I call him, we have 60 days to do it. Well, we can do this, or we can still do that and still hold it over my head when the state that he's from has released me from the obligation. So anybody who says that child support doesn't cause unnecessary trauma.
But they'll send it back to the father, though, in the end.
Yeah, but I mean, you think they'd make the steps where all that litigation would have to be done if I've fulfilled my obligation to the fullest, not just pay, back pay, anything. Everything is paid, done for. It seems like they should be able to just say, you know what, Mr. Jones, you've done what you needed to do for the past how many years.
They wait till 6 months after the child turned 18.
Mm-hmm.
And then all that money, they turn around and give it back to you.
Mm-hmm. Well, now they put the college thing in.
The child go to college, you got to still pay.
You got to pay.
Up until they're 24, and that's in all states.
Right, but if the state of Florida dropped it, then that means that she would have to contact Georgia to reopen a whole new case, which would have to again start in Florida unless she moves here. And then for them to reopen an already closed case, it would probably either cost her some money
It would cost her money.
or time. But Georgia is not accommodating. So again, it's like I'm getting stiffed. I got one state telling me I'm scot free, good to go. I got another one still threatening to either garnish my wages, take my driver's license, or take my freedom when I have fulfilled my obligation. I don't care how mad you are at these deadbeat dads. I can't think of any way that that's right on me.
Because that's the original state that it was claimed in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why.
But you know something else that what I was gonna say. In Ohio though, even though it's a college, you cannot do online college. You actually have to go enroll inside of a school and go to school. And then you can't get a G if you drop out of school and try to get a GED, your child support stop, even if you're not 18 yet. You actually has to be enrolled inside of a school where you get your butt up out the bed and actually go to school. No internet, schooling or none of that. You would not get your child support.
All right.
Iris,
I don't mean to cut you off, but I think somebody just joined the chat.
Iris just brought up a point that you are required by law, by the court, to provide insurance for that child. So
Right.
that's another dollar amount that comes out of your check besides your child support.
Well, hopefully if you got a good job, you get the little family package, and then it won't be like a little bit too much, that much extra. But something this one thing that other women can't stand why they don't want the man to leave, because the newest baby get the most money, right? So say if I got a 5-year-old with you, okay, and I leave you and go to Brenda, okay, and me and Brenda have a baby, we go back to court again, and then that first child check get cut down. And because now if you living with Brenda and you marry her and y'all got a baby together, now your that child, the first child you had, get less money because now you have obligations to the newest child that you just had.
What state is that?
That depends. That depends
It's
on
like
who
that in
gets there
Ohio.
first. Well, I think in Connecticut, it depends on who gets to the courthouse first. So if your first baby mama, no, like for here in Connecticut, let's say you have 5 kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you and your first baby mama have agreed that y'all not gonna go through the court system. You're just gonna give her a couple dollars. Your second baby mama, she decides she want to go to the court system. She's gonna get the most money, and everybody that comes behind her is gonna get a little bit less than what she's getting, but they're never gonna reduce hers because you decide to have more kids.
Right.
But you know what the scary part about it is?
Mm-hmm.
The scary part about it is men see what's happening and they still allow themselves to be bamboozled, to be taken advantage of, and to be worked over mentally as well as financially.
Well,
and it's really, really scary because a lot of these women, they're not coming into these relationships without kids. They come into these relationships with kids. These men are seeing how they doing their first baby father, and for whatever reason, they think that they're gonna be treated different.
Right. And then your check gonna be used to take care of half your baby,
Everybody.
the other baby, right? But
Everybody, and half of the time, your check is really gonna be used to get their nails done, to get their hair done.
listen, this woman only called me.
On point.
This woman
And
only.
all I can tell you is, for people that really want to know how it's going down, I feel like Life Jennings wrote a song about it. It's called
I love that song, right?
Well, on my behalf, this lady only called me on between January and March when she thought that I was going to get a tax refund.
settlement.
So she only called me then and was nice to me the first 3 months out of the year. After April, only thing she ever called me for was when my son acted up, and when I would ask for a progress report, a report card. For the last 4 years of his high school, I never got a progress report, never got one report card. But as soon as tax season rolled around, she called me. Well, don't you have a GameStop where you live? Or can't you send us an Xbox and some games?
Oh, okay.
Can't you
Okay.
send us a PlayStation 4?
Demetria, lit all day. We talked about mothers that worked before we started talking about. And I had said wasn't no wrong with mothers that got welfare and stuff, but I'm just saying that they able-bodied and able to get up and work, they should instead of just waiting on the man. I mean, what happened to women just being independent? Like I'm not gonna wait on no man check. Not me. But there's nothing wrong with getting help from the system if you have to get you a start. We talking about these women that spend their whole life on welfare. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Don't try to do nothing. So there's nothing wrong with if you need that stuff to get a start, to get you through college as a mother, so you can get some kind of trade or something, or either something that where you can get a job and take care of but still the father's still responsible to help pay child support for that child. But at least, like, man, just don't make it where it's just the man. Oh, I'm gonna sit at home. I ain't doing nothing. I'm just gonna take all your money. Like, to me, as a woman, it's like that's. But maybe because I had a working mother and a father, and in my home we have a working mother and father. So I just believe that that's not how it should be. Just forced to be. That, and then like a lot here in Ohio, you only can get welfare for 3 years. Okay, so after that, you got to go through their job training classes, and they help you find jobs or whatever. And I know it's not easy to find some jobs out here, but it's still like my hardest part is the malice part with the child support. And like I said, now and then my two things is the deadbeat daddy, the deadbeat mama, and a mother that does it out of malice. That's
Well,
what I
wait.
don't like.
But R. Kelly told us when a woman is fed up, and I really feel like part of this is the people that you are actually selecting, and whether or not that person has a moral compass, whether or not that person is driven or motivated. I don't think a lot of men are looking at that when they're selecting their
These
mate.
women.
I think that they're looking at all the wrong things and making
Right.
decisions with their penis and not with their brain. But
Absolutely.
I also feel like
They
this.
go to the club and drunk and go home and don't know what they hit. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, oh, I ain't mean for that. No, you did it already.
Well,
So
see,
you
I
just
made the
thought about it.
mistake at 18,
But,
well,
but
19, 20. Oh, go ahead.
oh, a lot of ladies, I've had to remind. You wouldn't believe how many people I've had to remind when they come in the courtroom and say certain things. Well, I don't have this and I don't have that. And I have to tell them this man is responsible for this one child. Just
Right.
because you have 3 children by 3 different fathers, he is
Right.
not supposed to pay for all 3 of your children because you picked one winner that can pay. He's not responsible to buy little Eddie a suit and little Joe a this and little Malcolm this. He's responsible only for little John, not for all the others.
Yeah, but you know what the problem is? The problem is twofold. They have this expectation that's not realistic, because I worked in a court setting, and I've asked people, because the question is, well, what if he doesn't pay? We can order him to pay child support, but I just met him. You've been sleeping with him. You had a baby with him. If he ain't gonna pay you, what makes you think that me telling him that this is the amount is gonna change anything? But the question I ask these people is, where was he working when you decided that you wanted to have his baby?
You knew he was on the block then, right?
Where was he working? Where was he living? And the reality is, when they're forced to answer those questions, then they realize this is not a winner. It's not a winner.
You know what? You're right. And don't let that same man get a wife after they have been with that person, and she thinks that that same man she has 2 or 3 other kids with is supposed to, just because he has a wife, is supposed to pay for all those kids plus his kids. No.
Right. Yes. Wait a minute.
Well, he do.
Well, no,
He do have
no,
to,
because
but
if
the
I'm not
wife
happy,
is get
you're
paid
not going to be happy. If I'm not happy, you're not going to be happy. And please don't let the wife have a good job. Please don't let her be smaller than me. Okay. Please don't let her look better, okay? Because then I'm really going to come after you. But the scariest part to me, but the scariest part to me is I have to watch Fraternity Court regularly. And I have to watch it regularly because I'm not in touch with any of these millennials and how they process.
Right.
And if you want to see how it's going down, forget about Maury. Watch Fraternity Court. And it's like half of these people got child support, half of these people got their name on a birth certificate, only to find out that the baby ain't even theirs. And in the state of Connecticut, their thing is we're gonna do what's in the best interest of the child. So that means if at 10 years old you find out at 10 years old that the person that signs your birth certificate, that the person that you thought was your father is not really your father, that man still gonna have to pay for you until you're 18, like that's your child. In the state of Maryland, that same scenario. 10 years old, you find out that's not your father, he has no further financial obligation. He can sue your mother and get the money that he gave your mother.
Hold on, peep this. Okay, do y'all know Kenny Anderson that be on NBA with Charles Barkley, Shaq, and DJ? Okay, now listen to this. You know his wife was a Price is Right girl, right? You know, one of the girls Price is Right. Yeah, so listen. She decided she was going to divorce him. Last year before last. Okay, now she was getting like $15,000 a month for spousal support and like maybe 20, 30 for child support or whatever. So now she says she felt like she can't live off of that. So now she get $40,000 a month for spousal support and like about 60-something thousand for for child support. Listen, they got 2 kids or 3 kids or whatever. And this in California. I guess California be raping people over there.
They do.
But so he said that he don't even get to see his check. His check goes straight to the courts to California, and he gets sent to change. But let me say this: listen, when you was married to that man, if you didn't get $40,000 a month when you was living with him, you know what I'm saying, and you got all the houses that's paid for, you know, and you getting enough where you got to pay the taxes and all that stuff like that. I can't see where a woman can just consciously just be. I need $40,000 to take care of myself, but you weren't spending $40,000 a month when I was married to you. So I'm like, where do they come up with that logic at?
They come up with the logic. They come up with that logic when they realize that they alone. When they realize, you know what, it's probably going to be very hard for me to find another man like this one. So you know what? Let me stick it to him how I can.
Because she left.
Yeah, because you know what the problem is? I tell you this. People can be so vicious. And when it comes to the end of a relationship, no matter who's at fault,
you're a whole other fault person.
But you see the worst side of a person.
Right. I think that is like just so horrible. But you know, I tell my husband,
I feel bad for the kids. I feel bad for the kids because these kids is all screwed up.
Because let me tell you, you know, because they're not getting all that money like she said she's spending. And then when he get the kids for the weekend, he's so broke, he can't do nothing with the kids when he get them because she done took all the doggone money. So, I mean, like, what, you can go to McDonald's and get $1 ice cream or something. You know what I'm saying? But I can't afford to buy you nothing else because your mama got all the money.
Right, and here's another place I want to drive this topic. I'm going to take about a 20-second break from the phone just so I can make a couple of adjustments. But the next part I want to talk about is trusting that fucking government. We don't trust the police. We typically don't trust the tax man. So why would we trust the government to come in between the sacred bond of mother, father, and child to implement their laws, rules, and regulations? When for the most part it doesn't seem like in the grand scheme of things it's really necessary. But once they're involved, it's too late, and then you both parents are
Well, they
beholden to
give
the
you a
government's rules.
mediator
So,
at first.
so hold that thought, dear. We're gonna take about a 20-second break, and I'm gonna come right back on the phone. Okay, so hold that thought. All right, to any newcomers to the chat tonight, welcome. Tonight's discussion is about child support, baby mama drama, whether it's avoidable or whether these deadbeat dads should just take care of their responsibilities and not ask any questions and get what they deserve for not showing responsible behavior. We've gotten several different viewpoints tonight in the chat and on the phone. Anybody who'd like to dial in can dial in at 605-313-5384. The extension is 165287. And just to check in with the chat, we have Dimitri all day. Welcome. Shaquila Dixon has just entered the chat. We have Lady Blue, Private Iris, French Silk. Anybody that you see with the blue moderator tab is also a YouTuber, so please be sure to support their channels as well. I think we may have lost Lockheed Boss Lady earlier in the chat. Lockheed, if you're here, please chat with me. If not, try to get back onto the program on StreamYard so we can chat together. All right. With that being said, we're going back to the phone lines. And the last question I asked for the people participating on the phone is government. We don't trust the police. We don't trust the IRS. We don't really trust government in general because we know they typically don't have our best interest in mind. So when it comes to handing your child's life over to the government, what are your thoughts on that?
You know why the court got involved? Because the system had to pay for too many children. Because parents couldn't come together and decide how much money they need to give to that other parent to help them parent. So the system was paying for all these children.
I think that the system was set up to destroy the black family. I think that I feel like when they decided that they wanted to give the woman cash assistance, women said, you know what, I don't even need this man because I'm getting cash assistance. I'm good. And the government says, you know what, we actually need that money back, and we're going to get it from him. And it's really, really scary because when people are making the decision to have these children, no one's doing the financial planning because everyone's saying, you know what, I'm gonna get my little cash assistance and I'm gonna work it out. And I also think that one of the things that was said was that you could get cash assistance for 3 years and then you're removed. But see, the thing about it is, all over the country there are exceptions to that. In the 90s, the government pushed us with the welfare to work program, having us thinking that all the people that are on the system are going to be forced off the system and into the workforce. That's not true. One of the exceptions to welfare to work, and one of the reasons that a person, there are actually two exceptions that could keep you on cash assistance indefinitely. One is if you don't have a fourth grade education. If you don't have a fourth grade education, the government believes that you're not equipped to make it in society. The other exception is if English is not your primary language. Now, anybody that has worked in the court system, navigated the court system, will know you have a lot of Hispanic people that come to court that say, I need an interpreter. And then when the interpreter gets there, it's like all of a sudden, You don't even wait for the interpretation because all of a sudden you know English now. And so that is one way to stay on tax assistance permanently, is if you go in there and say, no comprendo, no hablo inglés, and run with that.
So it's some women getting offended. I don't feel, and I'm gonna say it again. There's nothing with women getting assistance. There's nothing with women getting food stamps. We talking about the women that gets it.
Take advantage of the system, that works
right.
the system.
Because there's some women's like, oh, okay, it's just about women who get food stamps and this and that and this. That's not what we're saying. That's not what I'm saying, though. But, it's just some of them just do it too long.
It's the people that make a career out of it. The people that are not using it as a stepping stone, but using it to take advantage. That's what I'm referring to.
Me too.
And to me, I feel like but I feel like when you put a program in place that says, I'm going to help one parent at the expense of the other parent, how does that encourage them to work together independently without the government?
That causes immediate resentment.
Mom signing up.
It causes resentment between the two. When I saw that,
and bitterness.
Right. And this woman kept my son from me for over 12 years. I didn't even know I had a son. It wasn't until I got the order in the mail that she divorced her husband and got in financial straits that she decided, okay, it's time to find your dad. My mother's address and phone number haven't changed in 20 years, since before he was born. So there was really no excuse for there not to be that contact where we could have done this years ago.
Wait a minute. So at 12 years old, you found, when your child was 12, you found out that you were a parent?
Yes.
Yeah. But see, that because she lost his money. Right. She lost his money.
There's no penalty for women that do that.
No, there is, and you know what the thing about it is? There's no penalty, there's no consequence, and the sad part about it is, it's as if this man doesn't even have feelings.
Like, she thought she was cute. She thought she was cute. She would tease that I could see him and everything and put him on a bus and whatnot, and then all of a sudden say, oh, well, I don't want him to come. Well, he can only come with me. Oh, well, if his brothers can't come, then he can't come. And she made those excuses like that only because she didn't get exactly what she wanted. She was already getting half my check. That wasn't good enough. She wanted everything, or wanted to come move in my house, have a 3-bedroom home. So she felt like at some point she could sweet talk me, come back to Columbus, and bring all her kids into my house. And when I didn't fulfill her fantasy of being able to do that, then it became every tax season, oh, I still love you, and we can co-parent, and we can be the best parents for our son and all this. When is the money? When are you filing your taxes? Well, how soon can I expect it?
Yeah, but and it's sad to say. Listen, because I know, because of what my brother went through. You see a mediator before you even go into see a judge. So if y'all can work that out before you even go to court. And now listen, you can even stop it before if you're on welfare. All you gotta do is say you don't know who the baby daddy is. I was the
that don't work. That doesn't work.
She was going to get cut off. She was going to get cut off if she had no family.
The government got hip to that. You better come with a name. And if you ain't coming with a name, that's it. We're going to cut you off immediately.
That's what happened to her.
You better put a name on this line right here, regardless of who it is.
And you know what the sad part about it is? Women are picking dead people now just to be able to say a name.
Right, that's what I said. You just put a bogus name.
They can get 2 checks.
No, that's not gonna work. If you get a bogus name,
if you put a dead person name, you get a check still.
You might, yes. Because you know what the thing about it is? Because you know what? We have a lot of gun violence, a lot of gang violence, and we have a lot of people that don't
young people die before the baby born, and he know he was about to be a father. Yeah.
There you go.
Right.
There you go. And it's really, really sad because there are some people out there who have had those experiences, and it makes it very, very hard. I mean, there are women who have lost their sons who now have to go through correctiveness behind the women that have identifying the people that have died, and that's devastation.
Right, yeah. And then you go to court, you get attached to this baby, and the test come back, it's not even your grandchild. You
not even your grandchild. And I just had to bury my son. Now this bitch got me in court playing games.
Right.
Yeah, but there's another problem with that. Sometimes they put these names on there of people, and the court feels that the only obligation we have to do is to send you a letter.
And that's it. And then put you in the paper.
No. The court has another obligation now. After oh goodness, I can't even think of the war we were in. But they have to come with a military affidavit too to say that you're not in the military. They don't have to say. They don't have to say that you're dead or alive. They're not obligated to do that, but they are obligated to show you're not in the military.
What I'm saying is they put a name down, they give an address, they say, well, this is where he lived when I knew him.
But this what I hate, Doug, and I'm going to say as a taxpayer, that I don't get free dental, I don't get free eye, and I have children, okay? Nothing is free. We pay for everything. But here, okay, and where a mother can sit on their butt and get free groceries, get free dental, free medical, free this and that. Okay, like you said, I can see it as a stepping stone using it. But like you said, if you don't have a fourth grade education and you don't speak English, then you can get away with it. It's like, I don't know, there should be some changes put in somewhere.
Well, I will tell you that people are moving away from cash assistance. They're moving away from cash assistance because of all the restrictions that come along with it. The new thing is Social Security. You could get yourself on Social Security, you'll be set for life. Set for life. That's the new thing. And because Social Security abuse is so
when you retire, so you mean the SSI thing?
Yes, the SSI piece of it. And I'm gonna tell you, a lot of people that really have no interaction with that don't realize how easy it is. You get rejected a couple times, but if you hang in there with your doctor and y'all have a master plan, you're gonna get it. I've seen people get it that have asthma. People get it that, bipolar. It's like we're not talking about serious injuries.
Okay, so
and I also feel like with cash assistance,
they still get the child support from the father full support.
Yeah, because your obligation is not based on that. If the mother is getting Social Security, SSI, her allotment is factored in when they do the guideline calculation.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. So she got income coming in.
Yes, but it's so little that it doesn't really impact. But what they also do is they put the kids on SSI too, and in that way you getting it.
That's
because
why. That's how my child. Well, see, that's how my child's mother took advantage of the system and continues to take advantage of the system, even with the little baby who she had, so that she could remain in the system. Granted, she's lived in a house that she inherited where she doesn't even have to pay the mortgage, but you got 4 or 5 adults all standing around wondering who's going to pay the house taxes every year. Hot water goes out. The kids are taking baths in cold water. One of the babies almost scalded the babies in the tub from taking the high boiling water from the stove and pouring it directly into the tub, almost directly on the babies. That's the kind of situation this woman is in, and still wants to try to manipulate by using the youngest child. Okay, you got autism, y'all all get a check for the next 18 years. While she sits back smoking her weed, drinking her wine coolers.
Me and my husband both work for the government. We have an autistic son, and he don't get no benefits from the state at all. We pay for everything out of our pocket for him.
Right, but to stifle these children. But see, there's
I
another
just think that
aspect of this thing too that I don't think that people realize, and that's these children are going to have a stigma on them the rest of their life to where they will never be able to join law enforcement. They'll never be able to join the military. They'll never be able to own a weapon. There's a lot of things that they're limited to that you don't realize that once you put that stigma on that baby and they go out here in this world and want to be successful and find out that they're not as slow or they can function along with the regular kids,
Right.
by that time it's too late, and then they have that stigma.
they don't care about a stigma. They don't care about a stigma, and they and you know what the thing about it is too. I feel like when people are living in this type of lifestyle, that's not what they're concerned about. Not at all. They're concerned about
their child. They concerned about right now, this present moment. They ain't looking at
and getting it. How am I gonna get it? And reality is, you know, there are different segments of society, and I feel like the way that our society is set up so that there are people that are at the bottom, and that the people at the top can benefit from those people.
Right. Somebody asked in the comments, have you ever tried to get custody of your child from the woman?
Yes, I did, and when I did, the first thing they wanted to know was what his living conditions were like. Whatever. This is Georgia communicating with Florida. So when he was telling me that they didn't have hot water and the pit bull is torn doors off the hinges and that the house is a mess and that the house is one hurricane away from blowing away, they are right there in Hurricane Alley, and they've had major storms over the past 5 or 6 years, and the house is in a shambles. But when I wanted to talk to DFACS or the people down there, they wouldn't budge. They didn't lift a finger. They wouldn't even so much as send an investigator. And I had to have all kind of evidence, witnesses, and all this other stuff. And then they would have even got me for filing a false complaint if they went to the house and didn't see anything wrong or couldn't get in. So even still being a concerned parent, I couldn't call the school and get information because she wouldn't give me permission. I couldn't even get information about the child support case on Florida's end. And, everything, like I say, everything was working against me, even though I have a 3-bedroom home. I was had a steady job, had insurance. Everything on my end was good. And he would have had a stable life here. For him to take so much as a bus here, his mother would say, "Oh, well, now he can't come now. Well, you pissed me off. Well, I just don't trust you. Well, I want my sister to be with him at all times." He was already 16, 17, and she was still playing those games as a way to say, "But if you could send me $200 or $300, then maybe we could work it out, or you could send me there, you could do that or whatever." So it was always something on the hook.
If you'd have did that, she'd have just kept on doing that to you, and then eventually you'd have went to court, and then you know what that money would have been considered, all you gave her as a gift.
Yes.
So there was no way it was going to work out in my favor. And then plus, if I had got custody of him, that would have cut her money off. And by him being in the system, she would have had to pay me. See, she's a smart ass. She already knew that. So not only did she dangled my son out in front of me like a carrot, she didn't give me a chance to be a father, to raise him, to show him a work ethic. And yeah, and then she doesn't have any. He never had an influence.
He needs some counseling.
He never had an influence to be. His biggest male influence was her cokehead brother. She smokes pot all day. Her mother, his grandmother, smokes pot all day. Right, and then the stepdad was a piece of shit who didn't like him because he wasn't his biological kid. So my son had to grow up in that train wreck, in that mess, where I wanted to rescue him once I found out he was mine, and she wouldn't have any parts of it. His grandmother here has always worked. I've always worked. The people down there never worked, and he never had anybody to show him a work ethic, never had anybody to show him, the right way to approach life, not to try to get over and beat the system, but actually work hard and try to achieve and earn things. He didn't have anybody to show or teach him that. So that's another, takeaway from this, that it hurts more than just not having a check in the mail.
Be another black man of ours that don't have nothing to offer to the world because he wasn't taught
How old is
anything.
he?
He,
How old is he now?
he's 18 and he just graduated high school. I haven't seen an SAT score, an ACT score. I haven't seen pamphlets for school. I haven't been asked to contribute to anything. And, you
Is he
know,
still at home with the mamas? Because he might have kicked him out when he got 18. Shoot. You know, there's some mamas that do that. When you turn 18, you got to hit the door.
and see, that's what she thought, that she was going to send him down here. Sorry. You know, no work ethic. I don't even know whether he graduated or not. That's where we're at with this, because out of spite, she would not send me any information about his grades. I got one progress report because he wanted some money. Outside of that, I never saw
Oh my goodness.
grades. I never got a cap and gown photo. None of that.
And you know what's
You
really
want this
sad?
check though.
If you called the school and said,
And you
I'm
couldn't even get
your
nothing.
father, send me the stuff, they would say, I'm sorry, sir, we can't help
You
you.
know, yeah, you know, no paperwork. Right.
Even the ROTC instructor, I told him that I was in the military. I did 10 years in the Guard. I realized my son's interest in your program. You know, at least let me know how he's doing. And not even the commander of his ROTC could tell me anything. You know, not without her without her permission.
Because she didn't put him on anything.
You could have
that's
got a
why.
court order. You could have got a court order.
Yeah, he said he could have, but the money he would have spent would have been.
With the court orders, you could walk in and petition the court, and it doesn't. You're just doing a filing fee, and then.
Oh yeah, it's like $85 up here in Ohio.
Yeah, but again, you have to jump through hoops. You got to jump through hoops in order for you to know your child, but let you be a dime behind, and they all up your ass looking for ways to throw you in jail.
Oh, Ohio, this how I go. You get 500 behind, you get a warning. You get 1,000 behind, you get 30 days in jail. You get another 500, 1,500 behind, you get 60 days in jail. And then the next thing is 90 days, then it's 6 months. And then now they just started this program because, some people, like you said, our world has got to the point to where, our men are getting killed or shot or whatever. So if you get hurt, get shot, and you cannot work like you used to, you can file for what is that form? A modification to where the check is forward, where you can afford to live and still take care of your child. But honey, them women, they mad about that part.
Yeah, but a modification.
Here they won't modify. They won't in the state of Connecticut. Their thing is, it's about your earning capacity. So if you had a job and you were making $40,000 a year, and for whatever reason you got laid off or you couldn't work that job anymore,
you gotta go find another job making that money.
They wouldn't modify your child support downward. No, they would give you time to find a job because that's your earning capacity, and they would expect you.
Earning capacity. You can't make it. Wow.
Welcome to the state of Connecticut, because even if you're not earning it, their position is you have the ability to earn it. You're not working up to your earning capacity, and we don't want to incentivize these people to work less so that they pay less.
Let me tell you this. I had a great job. I had a great job at NCR. And anybody who follows the news knows that NCR had a major layoff starting in 2014, and then again here in my local area in Columbus, the Lady Blue mentioned, in 2016.
She said they suspend your license. You got a warrant.
Right. So what?
Do y'all get the tax return block too?
Yes. Yeah. All of the above. Now they have this raggedy ass fatherhood program.
His tax return 1 year, and he got like 2 cents.
Well, look, they got this raggedy ass fatherhood program that's ran by a deadbeat dad himself, whose father happens to be a senator. Yeah, and the fatherhood program really doesn't do much because they go through the Georgia Department of Labor, which again is a piece of shit program here in Georgia that's not there to help you find a job. They're there for you to help yourself find a job, and they give you those referral slips. Those are, you can wipe your ass with those referral slips. They don't do any good, and so that knocks you out
Yeah,
of the
no,
box as
but
far as
no.
labor. Trying to find
Yeah,
a
but
job.
no, but
Uh huh.
no. Yeah, but no, but I think the problem is that there is this expectation that all of these nonprofits that are getting a whole bunch of money are supposed to come with some results. You have these fatherhood initiatives, you have all these nonprofits getting a whole bunch of money. But what exactly are they doing?
Right. Right.
And then the scary part is they're not even expected to do
Anybody can
anything.
start a non.
We're not even expected to help you get a job. We're
Vocational
not.
rehab
But
is
we're
a
getting a
piece of
whole
shit.
bunch of money.
Vocational
Help
rehab
you do
gets
what?
paid millions a year to help veterans and help destitute people find work. Do you honestly think that when I lost my job at NCR, that vocational rehab or the state of Georgia, they wouldn't even give me food stamps? They would not help me on
No.
any
They're
aspect,
not.
but they put me in the rears on my child support, which was at the time like $465 a month. So being on unemployment, how was I supposed to pay $465 a month and still looking for a job? And I'm down there begging every day with my little shirt and tie on and my little pressed slacks and my 20 resumes, trying to do everything from being a donut truck driver to working in the fields picking fruit. And I'm overqualified for all these jobs.
Overqualified.
And then I have to settle for working in a call center for $7 an hour until I can get on my feet. Like I say, the system was not set up for the father to be successful in being able to fulfill the obligation once they take your driver's license or take your freedom. It's just not set up for us. And for black people, for us, it's even worse because we already don't have
It's
enough fathers
oppressive.
around.
Hold on. What was that one judge said before? Look deep before you leap. Remember that one judge? Was that Judge Maybelline? He used to say that all the time when he used to come into court about the babies. There was one judge to say that. And that goes back to the beginning. Like, maybe when you lay down with somebody, like you said, what was they doing before you started laying down with them? This and that. And you know what? Another thing I can't stand when a woman or a man think a child will hold you together.
Yeah,
You know,
she
vice
she
versa.
tried that game too when she thought that she could come back here and live under me, under my roof, and everything, and bring her kids and have this big happy life. Yeah, she thought the same thing. It didn't work out that way, but yeah, she tried that too.
Hey, can we talk about the jealousy aspect?
Please
Yeah, we
do.
did, but we can go back on it.
Yeah, the jealousy about I think the biggest problem is that the the father doesn't like who the mother hooked up with, so they take it out on the child. The mother doesn't like who the father hooked up with, so they take it out on the child.
Yes, we were just talking about that because they're not one of the other one look better than the other one, or make more money than the other one, or do anything better than the one you was with. It's going to be a big, big problem.
Yeah.
You
Or you
know,
or you're
it's
taking
not
care of another man's two or three other kids, because they're in
right.
prison
Exactly.
or they're unemployed. So the expectation
Yeah,
falls on you to be the good guy and
we,
fulfill your obligation
before
when the other three guys don't.
I think
Yeah.
before child support is given, or like if you separate or whatever, I think the first thing should be like counseling between the mother, the father, and the child. Okay, and then it should be like guide. I think the whole system need reforming. Like as to what is expected and what should be done. You know, and then like guys always talk about, oh, she won't let me see my baby. But take your butt downtown and file for visitation of your child, so she cannot stop you from seeing your baby if you go file for visitation, or he can't stop you from seeing your child if you go file for visitation. It works both ways. Some people just don't want to go the extra mile or spend the money to do anything else.
Some people just don't want to get caught up in the system. Because when you've been in the system and it hasn't worked out for you have no desire to go back and deal with it again. And I also feel like counseling is very, very good and it's very important. But the hardest thing is to find the right counselor, somebody that really can help you get to where you need to be.
Well, Food Stamp Gaming, welcome to the chat, brought up a great point. And that being the absent parent, you do feel some kind of guilt because you are beating yourself up, but you don't trust that same legal system that's trying to put you under, that won't help you find a job, that won't help you get assistance, to step up and all of a sudden want to help you get custody or any kind of visitation rights. And then that costs money too. And unless you're in a certain financial situation, you're not going to find pro bono lawyers to take that case. You know, you have to be in really bad financial straits before they'll allow you to have free counsel.
Oh,
So,
and don't pull up and drop the other child off in a brand new car or nothing. You know what I'm saying, boy? Or the child go home and be like, "Ooh, daddy," or "Ooh, mommy." The other parent house looks so good. They got this, they got that over there, this and that and this.
Yes, can we talk about that? Can we talk about how if the biological mother gets upset with the child because let's say the father moved on and the child actually likes the wife that the father moved on with.
Mm-hmm.
And she swears that they're trying to take her place, but they're just being fair. Then that will make the man's life even worse.
that's true.
I would like to chime my brother that his kids are calling the stepmom mother, mom. You know, but you know they didn't mean no harm by it. But she been a stepmom for years since they was little. You know, as they was growing up, and you know they call us auntie, and we don't treat them like they not. You know, like no different or whatever. But the point being, the stepmom, and then this was the good thing about it. She has other kids, right? That want to come over with their brother and sister, and my brother allows the other children to come, you know, and they come and hang out or whatever. And you're right, the other woman gets so mad and so jealous, it's like, oh, you hate her, you trying to play mommy or daddy to my kids and this and that and this, you know. Why the child just can't be loved by more than just one person, or the child won't feel like they totally in such a broken home that, oh, I got more family now than I had before. You know, I got two moms, two dad. You know, it's a little bit more love.
Right.
Because the mama at home is saying all the bad things about the husband, the father's new wife. They spend a week. They spend a week grilling the kid to find out exactly what he has.
Right.
What kind of car does he drive? Hey, how big is his TV in the living room? Does he got a TV in every room? How's their furniture look? They spent a week grilling the kid, and
where
the
you
mother was
see
right.
that? Where y'all go?
Yeah. Where'd y'all go? Did he take anywhere? Yeah. Well, yeah. Then they start playing that route where, hey, I know something happened. You something ain't right. We need to call the courts because something ain't right. It's just they're not looking out for the child's welfare. They're looking out for themselves.
Okay, so with that being said, we've discussed the financial side, we've discussed the emotional side, even the jealousy side. We're going to take another quick 20 to 30-second break. And when I come back, I want to ask the congregation this question, and that is child support necessary in 2019 and beyond? Can families live without it, or is it a necessary evil because of the amount of deadbeat dads? I want you guys to ponder that question. I'll come back in about 30 seconds to a minute, and we'll discuss that. In the meantime, speak among yourselves on the chat. And if one of my mods could, please post the number so that new people can call in as well. And I'll be right back. All right, we're back, and just as a quick reminder, this is Slide Jones, and tonight we're discussing child support, baby mama drama, the financial aspects, the emotional aspects, the toll it takes on families, the effects it has on the children that are victims of the child support guidelines. So now I want to ask the chat and everybody here. We have the truth on the phone. We also have Miss Lisa Lakers on the phone. We have Riverbend out on the phone. Anybody can call in. The number here is 605-313. Uh, Let me make sure I get the right number here. I'm sorry. It is 605-313-5384. The access code is 165287. Anybody who has a differing opinion, we look forward to hearing it. Just call in. Now, the last question that I asked before the break was, is child support a necessary evil in 2018? Is it something we can live without? I'd like to hear from the callers on this.
I say yes and
I think so. 'Cause I think it would become worse if it wasn't being enforced. People, guys would run around and just have babies and not worry about it. Women would be like, what am I supposed to do with this child now? Nobody's helping me. I think it'll become a vicious circle, and I think more children will end up suffering because if mama ain't happy, the child is definitely not going to be happy.
And I feel like the reason why it has to be. Let me tell you, if I was in charge of child support, what I would actually do. Like, okay, I would have like the deadbeat dad category, where not because the mom said the dad is a deadbeat, because the dad actually, like, if he actually went and bought the kids shoes, spent time with you, like, he kept a record of everything he did with the child that helped mold this child. To me, he would not be a deadbeat child. I mean, a deadbeat father. And he actually gave the mom, money to help take care of this child. That's not a deadbeat dad to me. A deadbeat dad just walk out on the child and say screw it and go have 100 other kids, here and there and everywhere else. But then there's the angry parent that's left with the child, whether it's the father or the mother, that's jealous of the other parent that moves on and they have the child and like you say, they malice and force the money rather the other parent take care of the child or not. So it depends on the to me the circumstances on whether we need child support or not. Um like I said, to me it would all start with counseling first. Like because like if you got two angry people or one angry person and you gonna try to get that angry person to sit down and actually talk to this person that they once slept with, that they share a child with now, and they're not willing to. Oh no, nah, I'm through. I just want this money, this and that, or I just want her money, this and that, and I'm good. I think like everything should always revolve around what's in the best interest first to start of that child.
Well, we only have a child support system in place because usually you handle this during the divorce. There's not a special
but
hearing.
You're not married though, so
that's why the child. But that's why the child support system was made, because a lot of women were showing up and a lot of men were showing up that weren't married to the women that having babies by.
Well, then maybe we need to go back to the Bible then, where you shouldn't commit fornication.
Yeah, but the system was set up because of all of the women that were getting cash assistance.
Yes.
That's why it was set up, to recoup that cash assistance money. But here's the thing, as it relates to child support, I know
this might sound strange coming from a woman, but I think that the system is broken, and I think that it has led to a lot of bitterness, confusion, and destruction. And I also feel like if child support was not in place, then
You would stop having all them babies.
maybe some of these women will rethink this. And part of this is a man is showing you who he is. Are you able to see it? I mean, because I'm going to tell you, when I would ask these women, where were you work? Where was he working when you decided to have babies? 90% of the time, he was not working. Where was he living when you decided to have the baby? 90% of the time, he was living with his mother. So it's like this man is showing you that he is not financially independent. And here we are putting another expectation on him.
But this is the thing,
I met a guy last week in New York City. And he was from Detroit. And we were just making small talk. And he was telling me how his best friend have 9 kids.
Was the future?
This boy wasn't even 30 years old and had 9 kids already.
Ooh.
And to me, it's like, okay, if you're baby mama number 9, what is your expectation?
Do you expect him to stay with you, or do you expect a 10 after you?
But not just that. How are you expecting him to provide if this man isn't even 30 years old and he has all these other obligations?
Yeah.
Well, I have a question. How come the court never asked the woman, how come you don't have a job?
Hey, don't start no shit. It won't be no shit. Truth.
The women have to have a job too. But like you said, it's the woman. You know, I'm gonna say me. Even though I'm married, if I was not married, okay, and I met a guy and he had like 2, 3 kids already, you could not holler at me to save your life. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, especially if you didn't take it. Well, I don't want you if you got 2 or 3 kids, because I don't want to deal with your baby mama or one baby mama or whatever.
I call it.
I'm sorry. Say again.
I think that's being real. I think that's being shallow to say that you wouldn't mess with a guy that got 3 kids. That might be the guy you met.
No, I'm saying it depends on how he is. Because if he got 2 or 3 kids and he don't take care of them, what I want to talk to him for?
Okay, I heard you saying.
Now, if he got 2 or 3 kids and he's a good father and a great, and you know the woman just wasn't no good, she might have cheated or something like that, then that's different. But if you don't take care of the 2 or 3 kids you already got, and you got excuses why they here and there and everywhere, I'm not finna talk to you.
Well, let me ask another hot button question that's related to this topic. Go ahead, Reverend Ben, and then I got another question.
Well, I think with regards to her, I think the mindset that you have is not the mindset that most people have. And I think that there are a lot of women who are with men knowing, they have this obligation, and they're not saying, baby, take care of your kids, baby, spend some time with your kids. It's screw the baby mama, screw that. I don't care if you have 9 kids and you
don't bring one of them to my house.
I just care about how you see me. And as a woman, a lot of these women don't care until they're put in a situation where there's a baby mama and they're not getting anything.
But to me, that wouldn't be a woman, though.
That is what has dominated our society. People that are not acting like mature women. That's the problem.
Okay, well, I'm glad that we got 2 different takes on that, and everybody, like I say, this is a beautiful discussion. Everyone's cordial. Everyone's, keeping their cool, but still able to express themselves passionately. That's what I love about this platform. But the next question I want to ask comes down to practicality because right now these laws do exist. They are heavy handed more towards the men. But for a man that fails to meet his obligation or expectation, however you want to word it, what should be the punishment for the crime? Because now you got states that'll put you in jail, take your driver's license. What do you think? Because you guys have come up with some really practical approaches to child support. Number one, mediate. I believe it was uh, one of you earlier that mentioned that meet. Yeah, okay. You mentioned Lisa Lakers that um, mediation is the first key to get the parents to sit down and be able to talk like adults and see what they can do to work it out. I think that should be the first step before any litigation or any forced enforcement should take place. So we've come up with practical solutions for the why to the what. So now let's talk about what the punishment should be when a man, whether he owes $100 a month or $500 a month, does not meet his obligation. What should the punishment be?
I don't think jail should be the punishment because, like,
No.
if I put you in jail, then I'm still costing the state and a city or whatever more money because you're incarcerated. And then, second of all, how can you take care of the child if you're in jail? To me, it's like we go back to the chain gang days where you do these jobs like something like community service, but it's actually you working jobs that they don't have someone to work or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
or where they need people to work, and you would get paid by that job. It might not be the job you want, but it's a job you're gonna fulfill that where they don't have to hire, like okay, like say if it's a city job and they can cut back paying all this overtime, to where they're putting the city in debt. Okay,
Get these
to where
deadbeat
you can
dads
take
out there to cut that damn grass instead of standing on
right,
the
put them
corner holding their
deadbeat
dick.
right, put these deadbeat dads out there to do these jobs that there's no one that want to be hired to do it or whatever. Yeah, put them put them to work program, and then that way they get money to give to. They either get their money back, from the that they was giving to the mom, or money to give to the mom. I think it should be some program like that. But to put you to incarcerate you and to take your driving license where you can't drive to go to work if you did have a job, or put you in work where you lose your job, or something. Because sometimes we do get behind in child support. Maybe the job had a layoff. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get behind because we had a layoff. You know what I'm saying? It's a seasonal job or something, and I gotta wait till the season start back for me to go back to work. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna get behind on child support during this period of time. So, but if I put you in jail, then you lose the job, and the child is still without any money. So
But how many times?
So
reform
How many
about it.
how many times? But how many times does the court have to tell you to get a job before they put you in jail?
I'm not gonna put you in jail. I'm gonna put you in a program.
how many times did the court actually help fathers out there that actually need help when they get taken to child support because the income taken from them? So, for example, let me give you a perfect example, right? I'm gonna use my situation for example, right? My son is 4 years old. After 4 years, me and my big mother we broke up. I moved on, she moved on. She was bitter, she was upset, she was mad that I moved on or whatever. So you put me on child support. This is only after she found out I had another child. She told me bluntly, I'm putting you on child support because you have another child. I want to get the money first before she gets the money. Knowing I was taking care of my boys for 4 years, great. Took me to court. Went in court. The judge railroaded me. The court told me, hey, $400 a month plus insurance. You have to pay. That's it. That's all. I had no chance to plead my case. I couldn't object to it. Anything. So it was just like, you gotta pay. That's it. That's all. I lost my apartment because of the whole situation. I couldn't pay my phone bill. I couldn't. I had to work some kind of way. So I got evicted actually. I got evicted.
And that's what I was saying, that it needs to be some changes made
Right.
to where
Exactly.
they can. It's some jobs out here that you can
That's my. So
have.
a job that so if I get a job making $20 an hour.
I'm just wondering, you couldn't file a modification with proof of income because they're not supposed to exceed 33.
A modification takes like 90 days, though. In some states, I know do in Ohio.
But see, this goes back to what we were saying, that the shared black family, because see, look, black people, we're very ignorant to the courts, to the language of the courts, to the proceedings of the courts, to the motions to file. We don't know that. Like, I didn't know.
You gotta ask questions.
Okay. I didn't even see. No. But not in these courts. They don't. In these courts, they're supposed to let you know exactly what you're signing and what you're doing. You know, it's doing it.
Exactly, because the mother has the attorney general, but the father doesn't have anybody. He has to pay for somebody to help him.
So if I get a lawyer, my lawyer, if I get a lawyer, the lawyer's not working.
It's legal aid.
Well, not for everybody. You have to qualify for that.
Oh, okay.
Because the lawyers work for the courts. The lawyers are there to make sure that I'm get put on child support. The lawyers is not going to help you too much in child support when it comes to that because they all get paid off child support.
Okay, but the lawyer is not really there for the mother either.
It's there for the child.
The lawyer is there. No. The lawyer is there for the court. The lawyer is there for the state.
Yes, it's for the county. It's for the state. The lawyer is there for the state.
The lawyer is there for the state. The lawyer gets paid off the judge that they get off child support.
No, and well, I can't speak for anything other than the state of Connecticut. In the state of Connecticut, the lawyer is there on behalf of the Department of Social Services, and Department of Social Services is trying to get that TANF money that they gave to mom. Now, if mom is not receiving TANF, if mom is not receiving TANF, mom can go down to DSS and apply for child support. But the majority of those cases in the court are based on a cash assistance allotment or a medical disbursement of some sort.
So you do know that the child support services, or whatever you want to call it, it's a private sector. It's not private.
Right, but that's still the state. In Connecticut, that's still the state. And it's still the state. So the lawyer is the state. They're trying to recoup the money that's the state.
Why is it not? So, you know, child support is contracted with the state that you're in. They're contracted with the state that you're in, right?
Say that again?
Child support is contracted with the state that you're in.
Well,
so for example, I come to you, I say, listen, I'm gonna give you this welfare money or whatever for your state or whatever to help your state out. But in return, you have to contract with us in order for us to go after these fathers to recoup this money.
That's between the Attorney General and the Department of Social Services.
Right.
But the reason I corrected you is because you said that the lawyer is there for the mom, and the reality is the lawyer is not there for the mom.
I didn't say that. The lawyer is not there for the mom or the dad. The lawyer is there for the court. If you can give me one person that you know, and a lawyer actually wants child support and actually help that person, actually help them through the whole child support, file the right motions, make sure you try to get everything like in the father's favor, I would love to hear that case. I have not heard anybody, because I'm in Chicago. I haven't heard not one person tell me that a lawyer actually helped them. A lawyer actually hurt them in the end because they was paying the lawyer all this money and they still got railroaded.
I
still got railroaded.
But I don't mean to break in, but if anybody has any background noise like a television or radio, I need you to turn it down because it's coming back into feedback, and some people in the chat aren't able to hear you.
I just feel like this. Once you get the cash disbursement, as a mom, you have no more control over it. The state is coming in, and they're going to do what they want to do. And I also feel like...
But I think that a lot of us don't seem to understand. Like, we let the state, when a mom signs off, the state go after the father with a child support. She's really signing off the child to the state. The child is really now the property of the state.
Right, and sir, may I have your name, please? Can you introduce yourself for the crowd?
Me?
Yes.
my name is Eddie. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. And I was like, I've been on YouTube a lot, just researching and and digging really deep into the whole child support situation, and then my situation, my cousin's situation that we all got involved in, and we're really good fathers. We really about our kids, we love our kids, really good fathers. We just got with some females who was really, coming out there for the money. And the main thing that I really, really, really hate about the child support system is that, like one of the guys said, you deadbeat fathers, deadbeat fathers. But the same system that take these deadbeat fathers and put them underground is the same system that put the good fathers on the ground as well. We are all in the same boat. So I'm sitting next to a deadbeat father, and we both getting railroaded at the same time, and I'm the good father. And the courts don't see that. So when you go into court, there is no way for the father to defend himself against what's going on. That's why I feel like it's unconstitutional, because as a man, as as my as common law, as my rights as a man, as a father, I have rights to my child 100%. No state should be able to come in and tell me you're not going to have rights to this child. We're going to tell you what you're going to pay for the child, and we don't care about what your living expenses are going to be. We don't care about how you're going to do it. We don't care. And one thing that I think we all missing, the big point in this, when you are behind in child support, the interest rates are insane. The interest rates.
Oh, and the fees. Don't forget about the fees, bro, because you know that you got to pay the processing fees, and then your job is going to charge you processing fees.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So, say for example, I'm behind $100 in child support, right? And like you said, I get laid off. For 6 months. I guarantee you, in about 6 months' time, that $100 is going to turn to $6,000 already off the interest alone. It's not meant for you to pick the catch up ever. You're never going to catch up when you get out of a job, or something happens to you out of a job. And there's no program for fathers who want to court and say, hey, listen, I'm messed up right now. I can't find a good job. Child support ain't going to stop. It's like a bill. It's not going to stop. We're not going to start coming after you for the child support. Even when you go to jail, they send you letters in jail they send you letters in jail by, hey, you owe the child support. The interest is definitely going on this child support. So you're in jail for a year. You come out of jail, you got $35 in child support. How are you going to pay that? What job are you going to get to pay that?
Right, and Demetria all day, not to cut you off, but she made a good point too, that the welfare mother who's entrapped, and in probable generations of poverty and living off the system as a way of life, that same system, those same white liberal women in the 60s and 70s told you burn your bra, you don't need a man, and whatever you need, the government will be there to take care of you, and you can walk away from your husbands and work your own job and live your own life. And nobody seems to put two and two together and see that also helped towards the destruction of our families. And you got sisters that are crazy enough to follow these silly ass liberal white women. I don't need no man. I don't need a man in my house. Not only does that go against most of our faith, whether you're Hebrew Israelite, Christian, or whatever, to totally remove the man of the house. But that mentality, I hear it, and I still hear it and see it all the time.
Kids need their father. They need both parents in their lives. And the mom everything. The court gives the mom everything. Even with visitation rights. They give us messed up days. They give us like my cousin went to the court to get visitation for his daughter because the mom got mad at him because he won't be with her no more. And she kept his son from him for like 3 years and told the son that, your dad don't want to be here, blah, blah. So he went to court. Of course, he got to pay fees and all this, file Moses and everything. You got to pay more money. You already pay child support. You got to pay more money just to get rights to your own child, which is crazy to me. So you got to pay more money to get rights to your own child. So he paid the money or whatever, went to court, and the court told him, well, you get every other weekend, or you only get like one holiday out of the year, or like they still railroad you some kind of way. Still make it where the mom has everything. And it's like, as a father, like emotionally, I know you all know what PSE is, for like veterans and warriors that go to war, they come back and they messed up and they eat head and everything. That really messes with our father's head. You know how many guys have committed suicide because of this situation? Because they are being raised like they are.
Wow.
I think this is a serious issue. It's a serious issue. I think it goes deeper than just us keep saying about deadbeat fathers. It's not no system in place to make sure that, hey, let's figure out what's going on. Let's figure out if the mom really does need this money. Let's figure out if the dad really is financial. Let's figure out what the dad has to pay for.
But I think part of it is we've changed as a society and we've changed as a culture. I think that when we look back, if we go back to previous generations, we could consult with a pastor or we could consult with elders, and the elders would give people guidance so that the right choices are being made. But right now, we don't have that. And because we don't have the wisdom that we used to have, we have a state of confusion. And I will tell you.
Hello?
We help one another. We pool our resources together.
The whole family, the whole neighborhood realized family. We helped each other.
And you know what? There used to be a time where we could go to one another's house and we could break bread and it would be all good.
Hold on, you remember how, I don't know if y'all old as me, but do you remember sometimes you got a whooping 3 times before you made it home to your mom and daddy?
Yes.
You remember that?
But you know what happens now? What happens now is when you go to direct to my child, mama's coming out trying to shot.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think I'm you guys' ages in the group. I'm 32 years old. You know.
That's why they say it take a village to raise a child.
I'm 32 years old. You know,
you know what? I don't know who you are, the other woman that's saying anything, but the reality is we need more women like you. Women who are going to tell it like it is and give people the facts instead of sugarcoating it.
You know what? I get backlash because of that. Because you know why? They be like, "Oh, you had parents that had good jobs. Oh, your daddy done put you through college. Oh, you this, you that." No, I did have parents that set a good example, but it was up to me to have that motivation to say, I wanted the life like this, or I wanted to have this. I wanted the same life I had coming up as a child, and I wanted to give that same life to my children.
Yeah, but people want what you have, but they don't want to make the sacrifice.
Right.
They don't want to make the sacrifice. And I tell people all the time, to whom much is given, much is required.
Right.
Okay, but what about the vicious circle? The mother looking at her mother who did the same exact thing. She had babies. She got child support. Now she having babies,
but
getting
see,
child
it's up to her to change and be better.
But I think that the problem is society is not placing a higher expectation on these people.
Right.
Die with the money, you have the baby, you set for life. That's what society is telling these young girls. Learn how to work. Go to the strip club. This is bad.
We have no one out there to come back. We have no one out there that's actually trying to get people to understand we can do this without the state being involved. You can do this without their emotions being involved. It's all about the child. But the child always comes upon.
We had a man that was saying that. And they locked him up. They locked that man up. Okay? I still don't understand why Bill Cosby is locked up. I'm trying to figure it out. Because I have that situation that's locked up.
That's a whole other chat right there. That's a whole other
Well, hey, the one thing about this channel, we can walk and chew gum at the same time, baby. If we need to throw that curveball, we can take a quick break and we can talk about it.
Hello, Slide, can you hear me?
Yes, Bill Cosby was done wrong. I will say that he was done wrong, but he did do wrong himself.
But listen though, my husband, like I make more money than my husband. Okay, we both make six figures, but mine is higher than his. Okay, so and we both got like FMLA through the job and all that stuff like that. So, but we decided, okay, every baby I had, we was working, but because I made more money, he stayed off longer and at home with the child, and it made my husband not less of a man. Trust me. He stayed off longer with the child, and I went back to work faster because I made more. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends on like what you what you want to separate. Like I said, it's all about communication and talking. And see, listen, everybody's so quick to walk away from a marriage, walk away from a family, and just say, "Oh, it's over with. I'm done." Instead of working things out and say, "Oh, if a man don't make much money as me, I can't be with him," or this and that. And it's not always that way. You do what's best for the family. You don't just do what you want to do. It's always about the family. And so it was better for him to stay at home longer with the child, and for me to go back after I was cleared to go back because I made almost double what he made. You know what I'm saying? So he stayed home with the child longer, out.
But 9 times out of 10, the only reason you're put on child support is because she got mad at you.
Yeah. Sometimes, or either you're a deadbeat, you get put on child support,
or you're forced by the state.
I think majority of time, I think the majority of time you put on child support is because cash assistance has been dispersed.
Yeah. But see, is she forced to go get cash assistance because you're not doing nothing, or is it because she was being spiteful? It depends on the reason. Like, she said yours is forced.
Okay, now, right, not to break in, but it looks like Demetra wants to call in. She wasn't able to get in through the software. Again, this is my first time using StreamYard software, so I'm going to have to work out the kinks.
I'll put the number.
All right, thanks, Truth. Thanks, Truth. Yeah, go ahead and call in, Demetra, or anybody else that wants to chime in on this.
You're right, because on the paperwork, they started putting, what is the father's name? Who is the father of this child? If you want cash assistance, if you want to be on welfare, you need to tell us who this child's father is, because we're going to go after him.
That's a contract between the state and
we're going to go after him.
State and child support.
Yep, we're going to go after him because we're paying you, so he's got to pay us.
Exactly. Somebody got to recoup this money.
Okay, you brought up a thing too that Eddie, you said that visitation becomes a problem. Look, anything to do with the court is a loop. You got to get in the loop. You got to fill out the papers. You got to do what you have to represent yourself, because no one's going to represent you. So you have to represent yourself. If you don't push yourself and you don't make yourself notice to them, they ain't going to do nothing for you.
So here's my question to you. Okay. If, say, this is child support, when you go to the courts and everything, and the judge tells you whatever they tell you with everything, right? Do you feel that visitation should be in the same exact courtroom and it should be the same day and everything? Everything should go it's not one day, but maybe
only if you're married.
They just know how to take your money. The people that are dealing with visitation are more equipped to mediate, more equipped to streamline, more equipped to try and resolve things. The people that's taking your money, they're not as sophisticated as you like to think that they are.
Right.
That's why you find that they make a lot of mistakes collecting your money because they can barely do that.
Was Dimitri able to get in?
So do you guys know that the judge, well, when you go into these courts, they're not really they say they're courts, but they are administrative hearings. And when you go into these hearings, the judge, he's not a real judge. He's a surrogate judge.
He's the magistrate.
Yeah, he's a magistrate. The magistrate handles family.
He's not a real judge. So
A magistrate is
That is a real judge.
A magistrate is a real judge, but a magistrate is a real judge, but it's not the same level as a real judge.
No. They can't make judgments. So what happens is
They can make decisions, and then you go in front of the judge.
it goes to review to a real judge. A real judge is supposed to.
No, both are real judges. It's just after you finish talking to the magistrate, the other judge is the one that's a little bit more higher educated, and he's going to he's going to enforce it.
No, it's not about education. It's not about education. It's actually about politics. When you talk about the distinction between a magistrate and a regular judge, there's no distinction when it comes to education. The distinction is just purely with regards to the title itself. And if you have more political power, then you could be appointed as a judge. If you don't have political power, then
you're a magistrate.
You're appointed as a magistrate. But a magistrate issue orders. They're the ones that's ordering you to pay the child support. That's an order.
Exactly. Man, they don't want to order their visitation too.
All right, not to cut you off, but it sounds like somebody did join the line. Who joined the chat? Do we have somebody new in the chat right now?
I heard a ding.
Did Dimitri get in?
Yeah, Dimitri, is that you? Okay, because I know that she did want to chime in. We look forward to you calling, Demetrius. So I wanted to see if that was her so I can introduce her. But you guys go ahead.
Well, I really want to help Eddie with his problem. Demetrius, is that you? Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
Well, hello, my love. Welcome to the chat. I'm glad you got through. Thank you.
Oh, okay, good. One moment, y'all. I'm trying to shift my head here. Okay, good evening. This is Dimitri with All Day. I'm on the line with you guys.
Hey, Dimitri.
Yeah, you
All right, now, Eddie.
Thank you for letting me in the chat. It's been a good conversation.
Yeah, when you tried to modify your visitation, you didn't understand the paperwork, or you just
No. I never.
They have people explain it to you though.
No. So this is how it goes. Okay. So when you go, so okay, right now, I don't have visitation on my son. We try to work it out among ourselves. A lot of times she gives me issues. She gives me a hard time. She makes it very hard for me to get my son. She tells me, no, you can have him today. Tomorrow.
Do you know once you have visitation and she don't give them to you, you can call the police with those papers, and the police will come out and make her in contempt of court.
Right, I understand that. Now, my issue is that. So when I got evicted from my place because I couldn't afford the rent, of course, the landlord don't really care about what's going on with you. Hey, whatever. You can't pay rent, get out. So I had to go, and I moved in with my
Somebody TV loud.
I don't know what it is. Well, yeah, I moved in with my girlfriend. Now, I'm doing okay now because I moved in with her and I don't have to, the child support is not affecting me as bad as it was when I was living by myself. So, when I moved in with her and everything, I can go to visitation. Yes, I can. I can go.
Okay, wait. I'm sorry. Can we turn the TV down? Because I can barely hear you.
Right, because somebody has some background noise that we need to eliminate. Either that, if you're listening to the live chat, go ahead and turn the volume all the way down so that we can hear you. But there is somebody's television or radio that is picking up in the background. Could be.
I turned on my stuff now.
Okay.
Mine's is down too. Man, I can't hear, but on the phone, man.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Okay, so who did you move in with?
This girl.
So when I moved on with my current girlfriend, we had a baby. And then that's when my ex girlfriend told me, you got a new baby. I'm putting you on child support because I want to get the money first. So she put me on child support, and they took $400 out of me. I got evicted because I couldn't afford rent, light, gas, and I had to continue to care for my child when she comes over. Feed him. I still have to clothe him. I try to take him out and things like that, but I don't have as much money. But I try to do little things here.
Do what you can.
So yeah. So when I moved in with her, I still try to have some kind of cordial dialect with her about my son. So one week she wants to give me problems, and next week she doesn't. Next week she wants to give me problems, next week she doesn't. And I can't just right now I can't just take off work and go and and go foul right now. I know I can go do that, but that still takes time when I go actually go foul. It still takes time for all that to go through. Now all that does go through, what I'm afraid of, and I have seen this happen to a lot of my friends, a lot of my family. When you go
get arrested when you go down there.
Yeah, that's what happened. I'm not behind the child support. Thank God. But when you go down there, they still railroad you some kind of way because they still give you a bogus schedule. And it's like you said, and when you're married, it's easier when you're married because it's like, I don't know why it's easier when you're married, but it's easier when you're married to equal days or whatever you want to call it. But when you're just a single father and you're trying to go down there about visitation, they always railroad you. Because like now, my cousin went down there to get visitation right, and they railroaded him, and he still don't see the child like he wants to. With the name.
But what reason do he not see the child? Because of her or because of his schedule?
Because of her bitterness. Because her bitterness.
Okay, right, and that he has rights. All he got to do is call the police while he at that house and say, "This is my weekend, my day to have my child," and she refused to give me the child.
But what I'm saying is, they gave him every other weekend. That's it. And they gave him a couple of holidays, but that's it.
But that's what he agreed to in the mediation, though. He let them get at him.
But see, it's not that easy. It's not. A lot of people think it's easy to go in there as a dad and just say, "I want this, this, and that." No, the courts are not on the side of being a dad.
Well, no. I think when it comes to visitation, the courts are on the side of the dads because they want to see the
right,
dads.
Right, because they out the house, right.
And if you pay that money, then you have more leverage. But what I will
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
What I will tell
it
you
is that.
If he's not happy with the agreement, then he needs to go back and get another agreement.
Okay, so here's what I did in my personal situation. This is Slide. When I tried to get a modification after my layoff from NCR, almost losing my house and going through some really hard times, I got zero assistance, almost lost my house, and they refused to do the modification because they say that the case wasn't open long enough. So regardless if I was eating dirt every day, regardless if I didn't have any income whatsoever, plus I had this fly by night sales job that when it didn't work out, they held that against me and said, "Oh, you turned down positive employment." This was a sales commission selling what do you call that, satellite subscriptions at the mall, where you're selling like AT&T or whatever. They didn't sell me the job like that. We had a very professional interview. We sat down at Starbucks and we talked about 40 and 50,000 a year. So I said, okay, I get back on my feet.
So you get paid really off commission.
Right. And I didn't know it was going to be that until my first day after I did all my tax paperwork. He sends it off. So the state says that's a legit job you turned down, even though there was no hourly wage promised. There was really nothing at all promised, just a handshake. And I filled out the papers thinking I was, being fast, being, trying to get back in the game. And then he told me what the job actually was after I did all that. I explained that to the state. This guy's out selling used cars in South Carolina right now, and the state still screwed me. So I asked for a modification and didn't get it. So then, by the grace of God, I was able to come out of that. But there are other guys out there that didn't have my resume, couldn't get the kind of jobs I've had to be able to pull themselves out of that situation.
The interest and the child support.
Interject right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Demetra. And that's the reason why I had called. I'm listening to everybody's point of view and different things that's being said. And that's why I have said in the comment box, it seems to me like it's almost a couple of totally different scenarios going on. We got the scenario, like I said, about the welfare mother who just systematically trapped like that. That's what they do. They have babies. They do that stuff. I understand that. But then I hear different examples being given during this live of almost like a marriage, the split from a marriage, the actual family union and stuff like that. And then the child support is ordered. Now, that's two different situations. But at the same time, what I'm hearing is that for both of those types of situations, it's like what I'm hearing is the same opinion across the board. About the women. What about the men? And then I know when I was listening to the conversation about is it fair for the men to have such harsh consequences or have so much taken out of their incomes and things like that? But what about those same case scenarios with those men when they don't be working?
Like Mary J. Blige.
Not working. Who is taking care of the children?
That goes back to my point what I said. When you go to court and you stand in front of that judge, and that judge says, okay, they hear the mom's side of the papers and everything, and the mom says, hey, he's not doing anything for the child, I'm struggling, I need this, I need that, right? The judge don't give the dad an opportunity to say, no, she's lying, I do pay for my child, I do this. There should be an investigation done. There should be some type of, way where you can say, okay, he's a deadbeat or he's not a deadbeat. They're going to look into that. But they really know you. You need the opportunity to say anything. The judge look at you, the judge look at you in my eye. He told me. He said, rent is not something you can bring in to say that this is why you can't take out for. He said, your rent does not matter. He told me, bring something else. He said, you can bring, maybe you got another child or something like that. He said, rent? He said, I don't care about rent. And that crushed me. I was like, well, how am I live? I said, how am I live with you taking, you hit me with $4 a month when I got my rent is $9.50. Like, how am I supposed to live? Like, they don't care about that. Okay, so they don't care about any of that. So I'm talking about the good dads. I don't care about the deadbeats. I'm talking about the good dads.
They don't care about the good dads either.
They don't care about it for anybody.
Right, good dad, good mom, good.
They don't care.
They care about their child.
It's a one-sided system.
No, the same rules that apply for a man apply for a woman too.
So they made it a one-track system where it's, I don't give a kid, it's good dad or bad dad. We don't got time for it.
You can be a good mother or grandmother. It still applies.
Right. It's an expedited hearing. It's expedited for a reason because it gets you in and gets you out. Ain't no investigation. Ain't no, let me see if this guy really is a good father. They don't care. They just want the money and next, money next, and it's not right.
But the reality is this: it's up to you to prove to them what type of father you are. If you're saying that,
you're saying it's up to me to prove that, but they don't give you the opportunity to prove that.
They do. Okay, listen. Okay, all I can do is speak from my vantage point from the state of Connecticut. Okay, when you go to court, before you go in front of a judge, they have you in a room with someone from the Attorney General's office, someone from the Department of Social Services, the mom and dad. We want to see your pay stubs. We want to see your pay stubs. We're going to do the guidelines with you. If you got receipts, if you got money orders, if you got simple checks to say, listen, this is what I'm doing. You get credit for that.
Not here in Chicago. In Chicago, they take you in the room. They take you in the room with the friend, they call it the officer of the court or whoever it is. You take you in the room, they sit you down. They say, give me your tax everything down. He says, "Are you back?" He comes back in the room. He says, "I'm not here for you or the mom or you for the state." He makes that clear. I mean, respect. He says, "These are the guidelines." He tells me out of his mouth, "You got to pay $416 a month plus insurance. You got to be on insurance at work." He was like, "That's the guidelines of how it goes." I tell him, I can't pay $416 a month because I'll be out of a house. I'll be out of my house. He said, "Well, you can talk to the judge." So I get to the judge. I get to the judge.
No, you can't. No, but
what he tells me,
that no, but that's true. But that's true. But the way that they see it, and they see it this way across the board, if you're the non-custodial parent, it doesn't matter. Your child comes before your friend.
I'm not a non-custodial parent. I'm a father. I hate that word. And everybody use that word.
No.
But the child not living with you though. That's what they're saying.
Wait, hold on. I use words because but this is it. The reason I use that word is because that is way but that applies to women too. So you say you're a father, but it applies to women too.
Women don't have that kid. A child has a right to both parents. A child has a right to a mom and a dad.
But the mother can be a non-custodial parent too.
That's right.
And that same law will apply to her too.
That's right. So it's not just about the man, it's about whoever doesn't have the kid. Can I ask a question if you guys don't mind the men on the line that have child
Go ahead, Demetria.
support experiences? I just have a question. Now, for the men who say child support or have some type of experience, what exactly happens or has happened in your cases when you're not working? When you're not working, when those times come, in those times, what happens? If you're not putting out any income at that point in time, who is taking care of those kids?
The mother or the custodian parent.
So guess what happens? The guy
The reason I asked that question,
not working. The guy that's not working. You know, and I said this before. If you can research this for yourself. The interest rates on child support is ridiculous. It's out.
No, I'm asking the question of what happens to the children at that point, just having no financial assistance from their father in one household. So I'm not attacking. I'm just simply asking because there's a lot of words being said against mothers in this case. I hear a lot of stuff about trifling mothers. I hear a lot of stuff about check mothers. And, and I'm not that person.
It's check mothers and check fathers.
But my question always stands to what happens. It's real easy to say to me. It sounds very easy to me to hear people say, or hear men say, or women, whoever got the child support, say, "What about my living? What about me taking care of my stuff?" Right? And then child is in another household. And regardless of what you think, I can't speak for everybody's house, but every house with child support is not a trifling ghetto welfare inclined house.
No, we didn't say that either.
Right, but I think she brings up an excellent point.
Who is taking care of your children? That woman.
That woman, right. Or that father, depends on who the custodial parent is.
Whoever don't have a child.
Whoever has a child, you have to go home because they're taking this money out of your check and we don't care about.
Yeah, but that child not living underneath your roof though, so that means that whoever has that child underneath their roof give a majority of the money.
So let me ask you this question. Do you really think that you got to buy your child every 2 weeks a pair of shoes?
No.
Realistically, okay, do you think your child got to have an outfit every week?
No, but that child gotta eat every day. That child gotta have a roof over their head every day. They gotta have lights. They gotta have gas. They gotta have hot water. They gotta have a running sink. Gotta have a stove at work, a refrigerator at work, food in that refrigerator.
I hear that. But the dad,
I will tell you, once you give the money, it's not up to the time.
All right, I do want everybody to speak one at a time, guys, so everybody can understand you. So, make your point, and then I'm sorry, Eddie, you can step in. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, madam. You were making a point.
Oh, okay, yes. This is Mika again. I just want to stay on the phone too long. I just know for myself, I always, this is how I look at it. Myself, I'm 42 years old. And I have worked, I'm a phlebotomist. I have worked with a lot of young women, a lot of different young ladies, right? And quite honestly, when I hear these young ladies talking about, oh, we're going to just work it out, oh, we made arrangements, I'm not going to lie. I absolutely always advise the young ladies to think better than that. And the reason why I say that, and the reason why I say file child support and stuff like that, especially if you're not married, especially, with no security and that. Yes, because guess what? A person can be doing the right thing for the right reason, right intention. But guess what? We all deal with our individual lives. So if my baby daddy is heading over here to pay me his weekly arrangement money, and his car breaks down, the tire breaks down, all of a sudden,
I gotta get my car
has a
fixed. I
life
can't pay you.
situation. And see, the situation over here at the household, where whoever got the kids, they have to wait for this other life situation to clear up. You understand?
Right.
And those type of situations can keep going on. So I always advise people, it's better to go ahead and get it off the top. Let the state deal with it, let them send it to me. And so therefore, it's going to always get taken care of, but you have to come bring it to me, or I have to make up your mind what you're going to do. Because you can have good intentions and still don't go right.
You're right. And that's what we said.
But Demetra, it works both ways too. Because for the men, it will allow the man or the non-custodial parent to be able to say, I've done my part. Because a lot of these women have amnesia. And when
who you telling?
they don't always remember how much they've been getting.
Hey, see, that's where responsibility comes in at. We're keeping receipts, keeping different things, to do. I mean, I'm just being honest. Everybody's responsible in this situation.
But as you notice nowadays, it's mostly the women paying the men.
In some situations.
It's more. I know there's more couples that men do have custody of the children.
I'm talking about without the men even having the children. Just because she made more.
So here's my question I had to the women in the group. Okay, and this is not me trying to bash guys or whatever. So when you have a child, you guys have the right to abort the child, right?
No, the father can stop the abortion.
No, he can't. No, he cannot.
When they changed that?
No, he can't. And you know what the thing about it is?
It used to be your father can take you to court and stop an abortion.
No. And you know what the problem is?
Well, then Donald Trump stopped abortion, period, though, right?
No. When the baby has a heartbeat, you can't abort it. That's the new stipulation they have now. But my question is, you guys can abort the baby before the baby has a heartbeat. Now that's a new law. You can abort the baby, right? Because you can say, hey, I can't afford the baby right now. I'm in whatever. You guys can also take the baby to safe havens, right? Police stations, take it to a hospital. You can drop the baby off. You ain't got to deal with the baby, right? At all. You have that right. You have that right to say.
But a man has the same right to have a vasectomy so he can stop having so many children running around with him.
I knew that was coming up. I knew somebody was going to say that.
Cut your balls off.
That's just really just you.
The mom has no obligation she don't want to, but the man has to have that obligation because you are the father. It's like y'all put this stigma on the man, like you're the father.
No, you should have put a hat on. You should have pulled a hat on, and you would have had that problem.
No, the system is only working right now for the women. It's not working for the man. You have a very small percentage of men who comes out of this situation like at least okay or decent. And it takes time. It takes like them getting in another situation where they're with another female where they're fine. It takes a lot for men to come out of these situations when they get put in this system.
So what do you think it takes for a woman to be out of a situation?
I was going to say it's even harder for a mama. Honey, let me see you push a baby out, carry a baby for 9 months and see how hard it is.
Well, let me ask y'all this then. This is Slide.
You think y'all love the child more than man at a time.
No, I'm just saying your body, you couldn't take it.
It's not right. You can't.
No, but the expectations are different. The expectations are different.
That's messed up. Y'all got a high expectation for men, but a low expectation for women.
No.
Ooh, good question.
Stop right there. Wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
The expectation is greater.
One at a time, ladies. One at a time.
I'm sorry. The expectation is greater for the mother than it is for the father. And I think that everybody on this line, if they think about all the things that their mother did, and I had an amazing father. All the things that my mother did were a lot more than all the things that my amazing father did. So, yes, you might have to pay some money, but dealing with a child day in, day out, having to accommodate that child's needs day in and day out, that's a lot. That's a lot. And money doesn't compensate for that.
Right.
It's deeper than the money.
Money don't compensate for your body being towed up, stretch marks.
But can we agree? Can all right, guys? Can we agree as a group? Can we agree as a group that most child support? Right. Hold on, bro. Right. But can't we all agree that the child support situation comes up 9 times out of 10 from unplanned pregnancies, from young couples who ain't using protection anyway?
No. I think that it might appear unfair for the man, but I think a lot of these women is plotting.
They trickery.
Oh wow.
Plotting to have these babies for these men who barely even. I mean, a lot of times, if from what I'm hearing, if I think the situation that these women in
all of our
places, right? And that's what I said. A lot of women think that a baby holds a man, and it does not.
A baby makes a man run.
So when it doesn't, you go on child support.
Well, you should have thought about that before you went in.
So
it sounds like y'all saying
child support is a weapon. It's a weapon.
Yeah, because I can use that as a two-way street. You should have been on the pill. You should have been on death row.
You could have stopped that baby from being born when you had sex with that woman. That woman didn't have to get pregnant with that baby.
No, I agree with that. I think it's both the women and the men.
Thank you. It's both the women and the men. I have to agree with that.
I'm just saying, since the man hollering that he don't want to pay child support, he should have did his part to make sure that woman didn't get pregnant.
But I think both every woman that want to have to lay down and gap their legs for
unless she had the turkey base, you know.
You just said that a guy, if he ain't nothing and he ain't doing nothing and he ain't got a job and all that, I'm gonna sleep with him, open your legs for him.
Exactly.
Right, but then I'm gonna take protection though, so I don't get pregnant by his no good butt either.
No. Guess what? You have something to fall back on. We don't. So guess what? I had sex with you. And you knew I want nothing, right?
Right, but a woman can protect herself.
That's not true.
Get pregnant.
That's not true. That's not true.
You put a telephone out on me because I decided I don't want to take care of this baby. I don't want nothing to do with this.
Well, you should have put a hat on.
Well, I want child support. But you know.
No, but I don't agree with that. And I just want to step in right now and say, I think the men are getting a bad rap, and I think the women. I think it's both responsible.
I think we're going to both
the men, what I'm trying to say is, I think the men, yes. If you're a man and you don't want to have a baby with a woman, yes, you should try some type of contraceptive. But also, it's not just the men. Women, there is patches, birth control, there is pills.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It works both ways. If I want a baby with you, I'm going to make sure I protect myself.
But there are a lot of women that will tell these men, I'm on a pill. And that's a lie. There are a lot of women.
Right, but there's a lot of things besides the pill. You can protect yourself from an STD.
No, but what I'm saying is there are a lot of games being played. There are a lot of games being played, and it goes both ways.
Okay, family.
All right. I think that there are a lot of people that are looking for love in all the wrong places. They see a man, he might have some money, he might look good, and they feel like, you know what? We've been sleeping together. Right. We've been sleeping together for a long time. Maybe we can make this work as a family. Really, it was just a late night creep, and now you want to make it into something. But I also feel like with the men, I agree. But I also think with the men, you need to be a little bit more mindful of how you're exposing yourself, because this isn't just a fuck. This is 18 years on the hook. You need to think about that when you're engaging with some of these women. It goes both ways.
Well, on that point, I'm glad you said that. This is Slide. Hold on, guys. Hold on.
With a condom off.
Well, no, wait, guys. Okay, so I think we all made our point.
I think the burden goes more on the woman because she knows she can get pregnant from having unprotected sex.
You ain't no dummy.
All right, so all right, guys. So we made our point with that. I think we all made our point. Now I want to drive it. Now I'm gonna drive the conversation a little bit different before we close tonight, and that's to the movement by a lot of men and a lot of black men now.
I'm going with River being out. She said this is not fair. As we as women don't have to gap our legs over for every time Dick and Harry.
Understood, and I'm going to highlight that as well because I do agree. But the point I want to bring up now is with the Me Too movement, and now with men going their own way, which is called MGTOW. Right.
Oh yeah.
Now this male movement is saying, you know what? Not only do we not want to have children with women, we don't even want to cohabitate with women, because as soon as we go into a contract with the woman, we're either going to be legally obligated or financially devastated over being with this woman. I don't believe in this movement myself. I don't. But with that and the Me Too movement,
I think different because I'm like this. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna make sure if I don't want a baby by you, you're not getting me pregnant, and I ain't having no baby. And if I do want my baby, you don't want one, then you go ahead and I find somebody else that's suitable. And evidently, if you didn't want the baby, it wasn't meant for me to have a baby with you in the first place.
Right. But I have a lot of ladies that follow my blog and whatnot. So I wanted to hear a black woman's perspective on MGTOW, and my gentleman too, because a lot of people don't really know about this movement. And there's a lot of women that try to get with good men, and that good man never commits. He never wants more than sex, doesn't even want a woman to know where he lives. And I'd had a conversation with the woman in her chat earlier about something similar. So now do you think, with looking at the divorce rates and the husbands that have to pay alimony, the husbands that are on the hook for child support, do you think these men are justified in this new male movement where they're moving away from cohabitating and having kids and trying to avoid?
Both ways, because women moving away from it too.
Okay. Well, I didn't expect to hear that, but anybody who'd like to chime in on that.
I got a lot of female friends that would not marry him, don't want to be married by a man, would just date, don't have no kids. Mm-hmm. They like Oprah, older, don't want no kids, don't want nothing to do with no children, and don't want to live with a man. You got your own place, I got mine. We hook up. When we finish, you go home, and whoever has whose house, you go to your house, or I go to my house, and we done with. If I want to see you tomorrow, I do. If I don't, I don't.
And I feel like that's the breakdown of the family unit and the morality of us and responsibility.
But you know what? And that's exactly what they putting on our radio for our young women nowadays too. You know what? And I said that's why I do not listen to music now. And I forbid if my kids ever would listen to it. That nowadays it's all about, they promoting premarital sex. You see what the guy gets some money, and then even side chicks got anthems. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where is this world going to?
And then you still got your old gold diggers. They ain't went nowhere. Why spend mine when I can spend yours?
The side chicks have TV shows. Don't forget about the gay agenda that they pushing as well.
Yeah, and the gay agenda, that too. So now what the white boys did was they started a movement to move away, and now they got black men tagging along that are saying, you know what? I'm tired of paying alimony and child support.
Wearing dresses than black women.
Yeah, that's
but what
scary.
we need to do is get back to the original family unit. Eating
Right.
together.
Thank you. Do you remember back in the old days? Because when our women and black men wore suits every day and the hats and the long coats, the gloves and the tights
They had
and
dignity.
with no saggy pants, with no walking out in your pajamas with a scarf on your head. You know, none of that walking down the street.
Together. Volunteer for the PTA. Eating dinner, finding out about your children's day. Letting them know that.
Oh, I am, honey. I just won an award last year for having the most hours for a mother at the school.
Yeah,
from the mayor.
Your last name means something. That is your family name. Back in the day, your family name was your bond. Let them know how proud of who you are.
Right.
Your family and represent your family. Right. That goes.
That's right.
It starts at home with the family. This is what we as a family believe in. And if we can't teach that, then that's why they're lost out there.
But you know what? We get accused of, me and my husband all the time. They like, and this is not race. They're like, why is y'all so whitish? Like the kids act white, y'all act white. No, it was how we was raised. You know, it was just. But my kids are very proper, and they go to private school. They just don't use slang. You know what I'm saying? They don't know slang. You know, so they talk like the Valley, kids kind of talking, So I'm like, it's not that my kids act white. They're just very proper and they're well mannered.
Right.
Exactly. It's up to us. Whether you split up with whoever, it's coming back to the family and you teaching your own kids what to act like.
I mean, I agree to some extent, when you say it should go back to the family. I used to be back in the day, but I think that nowadays we have a way of things.
It's so bad now. You don't know who to trust.
Now injected into our society and our communities, and there is no more. Right now, if you can name me one person,
name one person.
Speak up, brother. Speak up.
For the black family that's pushing for everything. You have all these. You got millionaires out here. These rappers and these singers and these.
Right,
pushing
drugs
and baseball and all that. These guys are making millions of dollars. And
I might
be anything to empower us as young people. They're not coming out in our community, putting schools in here, and we're going to build a school over here. We're going to put a program over here. I'm going to fund it out of my own pocket.
That's what I love about LeBron James.
Yes, but he did that for his
pocket and his fame, right?
You see what I'm saying?
Well, you know what? That's a good example, and I agree with you. But this is what I teach my children and the other kids that I raise, because I have more than my children that I have to raise with me.
Right.
So you look at them, and I show them as an example. But look at the judges. Look at the lawyers.
The lawyers, that's right. You don't have to.
They are nuclear families with one woman that do what they're supposed to do. You don't see, you might see the little black sheep that do like the little Bill Clinton stuff. But really, if you're going to be something like a CEO or this and that, what do they have? A family unit. You don't see little, what's that guy's name? I don't know who that guy's name with all the tattoos on his face. What's his name? Truth? All them little crazy tattoos. 21.
Oh,
Tentacion.
What does he have? He's not a family unit. That's not who you want to be.
Right.
But you see what I'm saying when I say that we don't have any strong black leaders that's actually pushing the agenda, because they're scared to actually go out there and put their neck on the line and say, hey, us as a black people, we're going to start pushing. And I'm going to start helping you guys.
No, the ones that do it are on the Republican side, and we don't want to listen to them because they're aligned with white supremacists. They're telling the truth. It's just the platform that they do it from is not kosher.
Family household, but I came from but we grew up together, so we was best friends. So my dad was like, talk to him when he was coming up because he was going the wrong way, coming up as a kid or whatever. But I looked at my parents as a role model, because they were strong, they held it together.
Right, but you know what? Those are conservative beliefs, and not to get too political, but I like to stir the pot a little bit sometimes. Those are totally conservative beliefs. A lot of what we're getting out of the liberal governments and the handouts and the welfare and the uh, child support system that'll never be reformed is the destruction of the family. Now the conservatives, on the other hand, are talking about yeah, two mothers, two fathers, all that mess. I'm just gonna call it mess for now. But I was in a chat earlier, and some people I guess thought we were homophobic, and one little sis even went on and went live. But anyway, that's beside the point.
That's your choice of life. I don't like it, but I know what mine is.
Right, but the liberals are the ones that are preaching that. So how do we feel where most of us probably vote Democrat, knowing that these Democrats we're voting for are pushing, this LGBT agenda? Yet still the conservatives are saying the right things, but they're so closely aligned to white conservatism that we don't hear the message. Does that make sense? Because it's not that the Republicans are saying anything wrong that we don't believe. Because believe it or not, guys, Martin Luther King Jr. was a Republican. Martin Luther King Jr. was a conservative.
Yeah, I heard he went outside the marriage, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He tiptoed.
Right.
But he did preach on family values. He preached on
Right.
The black family and the black man working to make a living. But those are now considered conservative beliefs. So before we close out tonight, just on a political level, I'd like to know how y'all feel about that, where again most of us support the Democrats, even though most of what we're voting for now doesn't line up with our spiritual or our political beliefs.
I gave up on the whole political thing. I really did. I mean, at this point, I feel like, as a people, we relying on somebody to get us out of what we're in now. And I just don't see it happening. I think it's too much power given to the government right now. They got too much power right now to do a lot of things that they want to do. And it's like, we don't, like us, the people at the bottom, nobody hearing this. Nobody hearing us or hearing our yells and, hey, I'm not making enough to pay rent. I'm not making enough to do this. I'm not making enough to do that. Every time they raise the minimum wage in Chicago, they raise up everything else around it. So you're right back where you started from. So it's like you never give us an opportunity to actually get out of the hole and actually be able to stimulate the economy like it's supposed to. If I'm making $30 an hour and then you're telling me that now I'm looking for me $10, what am I really making? I'm not making anything. If you're telling me, okay, we're going to give you guys $10 an hour now, but we're going to make you $15, I'm not looking. I'm still in the same place.
Well, I'm going to say, I live by the law of the lands, but I put mine in a higher bin. I live according to how God said we should live.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like I understand the religion thing as well.
It's not about religion. It's about the God is a spiritual thing, but your temple is you within. So it don't have to be a religion. It's like
right. See, that's what I agree with that.
It's not a religion. It's what God said was the law. Because if we don't commit fornication, you don't have kids without a mother or a father. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
And if you don't commit adultery, you don't have side chicks. You know what I'm saying? So if you do yourself according to a spiritual being, then you don't have all these problems that they have in the world. And it's also scripture, the Bible said that God said if you put him first, he'll take care of the rest. So you don't have to worry about it. God got you on the rest of it.
And I hear that, and for me, they call me, they got a word for us called atheist, or you want to call it. I believe in God to a certain extent. I believe that a lot of the burden is on us to actually get out of it and stop relying on something, or stop thinking that something is going to come down here to actually.
No, because God said if you stumble 77 times, He's going to pick you up that 78th time.
It's time for us to make a move. It's time for us to overthrow this kind of government that we have right now. It's up to us to stand up and say we're not taking this no more. We're not taking these bogus laws and these bogus legislation. We need to reform just reform right now.
So what my brother's saying is, instead of waiting on some pie in the sky and a sweet by and by, like my man Khalid Muhammad used to say, instead of waiting for him to pick us up 78 times or 178 times, that we need to learn to start
But you
picking up
still gotta do
ourselves.
for yourself. That guy said you gotta have faith first before he even step in. Okay, so that part is understood. But let me say this though.
Faith without works is dead. Faith without works.
Faith without works. That's what I'm talking about. There you go. Faith without works. You gotta have faith first. But let me tell you one thing my daddy told me. Even though I grew up in a 2-parent household, you never know what might happen. My daddy told me this one thing. He said, "You never ever forget. No matter how many children you have, if that man walk out that door today, those are your children. And if you have them, you make sure you able to be able to take care of them." My dad instilled that in me. He always told me that. He told me that you can be in love, get married, whatever, but always remember, if that man walk on you, make sure you able to take care of them kids that you have. And I always live by that.
All right, and we're going to lead the conversation there. It's going on 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so we will wrap up at 1. That still gives us 5 minutes to chop it up. So I want all my callers, starting in the order that you called, to tell us a little bit about yourselves, your channel, and before we close out, and any closing remarks that you have. I believe that would start with you, Truth.
Oh, well, my name says it. I'm the Truth. My channel basically exposes Essie Berry. That's pretty much it. I expose her for the fraud she is and the scam she's pulling, and that's basically what I talk about. But I did want to make a point to Eddie. The court system for child support is not there for you or the mother. It's there so the state stops paying. So they're going to make you pay, or the mother pay, either one. It's not fair, but the whole burden for them is to ensure that they do not have to pay more than they need to. And I'll end it with that.
All right, and don't let Truth fool you. Truth, no matter what the topic of conversation is, has always been knowledgeable, always had good input to bring. So even if you listen to some of my older call-ins, listen out for the Truth, because he's always got something poignant to say, and I really respect his opinion. And don't let him short sell you that he's only all about Essie Berry, because we've got some things coming up soon, hopefully, where we can collaborate and help grow his channel. So please subscribe to the Truth. I believe we have Riverbend, and then next I would like to hear from Lisa Lakers, then from Willie. I'm sorry, then from Eddie rather, and then from Demetria, and then we'll close out.
Oh, hi everyone. I'm Riverbend, and as you know, I'm Truth's cousin, and I usually just kind of back him up. We're more like brothers and sisters than cousins. I'm just here to I try to be fair in everything that I see. So that's pretty much just me. And I hate when things are pronounced incorrectly. That's pretty much what my channel is about.
Right. So, for instance, when I want to use a word like you're on the what on my mind? Oh my gosh, I can't even think of the Essieism right now. She hadn't been on my mind recently, but co-conspirators, politically correct, and co-conspirator, and a myriad of other vocabulary conundrums. So, you want to check out Riverbend Out's channel. So again, she's one of my mods. Click on the 3 dots next to her name, and make sure you go to channel and hit that subscribe button. All right, next up, go ahead.
Okay, I'm Lisa Lakers. I'm just a subscriber. I don't have a YouTube channel, and I guess if I did one, I work for the FBI. So,
Well, don't get too mad, because I follow a lot of First Amendment auditors who give the FBI hell, and they actually knock on their doors. They come on my door. They come knocking on my door. They're not gonna get a pleasant greeting. But other than that, hey,
So I just enjoy the conversation. I enjoy being a subscriber. I enjoy the YouTube channel. So that's just me.
well, there's a lot of people that sit in the shadows and never really say anything that come to these chats and are too shy to speak up or disagree and don't
Oh,
want to
not
ruffle
me.
feathers. I'm glad that you did have the courage to call in and to chop it up with the family. You're always welcome. And I thank you for your input.
Thank you.
All right. Who do we have next?
So I
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Dimitri, you get the last word since you came on last. But we do have a newcomer to the family, Eddie. So, Eddie, tell us a little bit about yourself. Again, I'm Sly Jones. I welcome you to the platform. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, what's up, man? I came across your page. I was on YouTube, looking at a lot of child support things and things like that, and I seen it pop up, and I'm like, oh, let me check this out, and I checked it out. I'm just a subscriber. Really, I have a YouTube page, but it's not really up and running. I'm a citizen fanatic. But I love to have these types of dialect with people. I think it's healthy for us as black people to talk to each other about issues in our community, issues with just the type of things. But for the most part, I think that tonight was really, really great. I think this got to keep going. Hopefully, this can get to the masses, man, and we can have these type of dialects at bigger tables that maybe one day on TV or wherever. I think this is great. To the guy that left the comment, I think it was the first guy about the child support situation. I'm all about community. I'm all about that. I love my kids. I know if I gotta go anywhere in Brookville, I would do that. I just feel like the state should never get involved with a parent's decision of how he's supposed to raise his child. All of us have different enough situations. All of us have different things going on in our lives. Stuff happens, and I just feel like that we should be able to get a chance to actually bring that forth before they just railroad us. But other than that, it was great. I love all you guys, talking to you guys, even the women. That was to bite my head off, but it was great. It was great.
Well, the truth had kind of warned me, because I do have a lot of female followers because I do the sexy poetry reading and slow jams, and usually I have a channel that is a place of peace. We do have debates, but we've never kicked anybody out of the room. We've never had anybody leave in anger, and I don't have many trolls. So, this is a place where no matter, even if you don't like the person you're talking to and you disagree with them with everything in your heart, you can still express it here. You can express it passionately, and nobody, even if you do disagree, nobody walks away enemies. So another thing too is when you get your channel up and running, please let me know so that we can help you promote. And I invite you to the next live call-in show so that way, no matter what the topic is, you can always feel free to express yourself here.
I appreciate that.
All right, and again, welcome to the family. And then we have Demetria all day. Let's tell us a little about yourself, and you get the last word.
Okay, so I'm not Demetra, and I think I signed on right maybe before she did.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Who is this? Introduce yourself and tell us what you want to say.
Okay, so my name is Zenobia, and I'm not really good with YouTube. I really don't have a channel. I'm just a subscriber. But I used to work for the state as it relates to child support. And so because this issue is something that I do have experience with, I just thought it would be good to just call in and weigh in on this. And it's a little tricky for me because I used to order people to pay child support on behalf of the state. But I'm a single parent, and I've never. My child's father died during my first trimester, so I've never been in a situation to actually receive child support, and so maybe that impacts my position as it relates to my opinion. But I just
thought it would be important for me to just share my perspective.
I appreciated your opinion tonight too. It was really, I liked it.
Right, I appreciate you too, and next time introduce yourself. A lot of times people will jump into the chat and we don't ever know who's on the line. So yeah, definitely let yourself be known, and that way we can exchange and dialogue. And then you two are welcome to my channel. Thank you for finding me. I know there's 100 different channels out there, but you found mine and you were able to chime in. So I welcome all different opinions, and especially experienced ones. So I thank you for your input, and if you do me the pleasure of sticking around and joining the next chat, no matter what the subject. Again, you and Eddie are absolutely welcome.
Definitely appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
No problem. All right. And I think, Dimitri, if there's nobody else, you get the last word, madam.
Hung up. She's in the chat. Yeah, she's in the chat, but I think she hung up.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Well,
her channel is, my channel is very like my Gemini self. I mainly focus on Black history icons and reminding people of their accomplishments. I do daily Black quotes, and that's Demetrius lit all day.
Yeah, I was just gonna read it. Okay, Eddie.
right. And before we end, I just want to check the chat really quickly. And I think I have a blue wrench to hand out tonight. So for usually a lot of first timers don't get a blue wrench, but Demetria has been one of the most active in the chat. She wasn't able to get into the software, which I'm sorry about that. But by the power vested in me, by this being my channel, I now give Demetria a blue wrench. You are one of my official moderators. Again, your opinion will always be valued here, and I want to thank you for your support. Your support for being a new member, and being a full participant in today's chat. So, congratulations to you.
It's got a new blue dress on.
That's it. So, guys, I appreciate everything. To my regulator family out there, to all my newcomers, beloved princess, French Silk, the lady formerly known as Darling Red, and she knows who she is, representing Columbus, Georgia. Shout out to Lady Blue, and to everybody else. Again, don't blame it on my head or my heart, because I can't go all the way back to the beginning of the chat right now. But I do want to thank everybody. I think I had a newcomer, Jeffrey Pope. Thank you for coming by as well, and to everybody who took the time. We're going to leave on Psalm 133rd. How good and how pleasant it is when brethren dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, and ran down to the skirts of his garments. As the dew of Hermon and the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion, it is there that the Lord commanded the blessing, even life forevermore. So we'll part on the word. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I hope to talk to you soon. Peace out.